The Thinking Tackle podcast.
And I just thought, as long as you be yourself, then
that's what Danny said.
you know people either love you or hate. They won't hate you.
Yeah.
And then Ali, my phone went a few days later, and it was Ali, and I thought, oh God, this isn't good. And he was really complimentary to the point where I thought he was actually taking the piss.
Yeah.
Because he was being too nice. Again, and men aren't nice to one another, are they? Men don't do that sort of thing, as today has already proved.
Especially here.
Especially here, yeah. So, but yeah, he said, oh, you're really good. You came across as honest and professional and calm, and just went from there, really.
How many did you do?
I think I did 3 or 4 thinking tackles. Yeah. But we did a lot of filming for the free DVDs at Gigantica. And I did some filming for the England versus Europe Gigantica stuff as well. This was in the days where Dan had only had the lake a couple of years, and it was basically a case of if you could put as many boilies out as you could, you catch more. Well, we would anyway. We did really well. It's been English style of fishing, throwing stick, 3 rods at a certain range, and the European lads really struggled, and we had a pretty shit draw, to be honest, in most of their matches, but we still wiped the floor with them.
Just because you could put more bait out and
well, just I think we were at the time. I don't think it's like that now. I think there's plenty of people that are equally
they've caught on,
because they've been educated by the English market. I think there's a lot of very capable anglers in
Do you think they've overtaken us?
I don't pay that much attention to the European market, but I remember the German guy. I forget their names now. The German team, which I think worked for Korda, probably still do. They were really switched on. Like, their rigs were meticulous, and I noticed, because I'm of my OCD, I noticed things like that, and I just thought, your rigs are neat. Like, his bivvy was probably better than mine. It was all pristine and wasn't a thing out of place, and I like that in an angler. I nearly said I like that in a man, but I like that in an angler.
Yeah, just say an angler.
Yeah. And it's the more I was really nervous. Although I have watched the Thinking Tackle back, and I don't think it comes across that I was nervous. I just thought I thought as long as I can not engage with the camera too much and just talk to Dan, and Dan's very good at keeping you engaged with him and looking him in the eye rather than sort of looking at the lens.
Don't you find with the camera lens though, because you don't know where the eyes are in the lens, do you? So you're sort of looking at it thinking, well, where am I actually?
Yeah, but over time you just learn to just look straight down the barrel. It's like looking down a gun, innit? You just look straight down the middle of it and you can't go wrong. But then I notice other people when they're filming, certain things that I watch, and you always see their eyes like that, looking up, and what they're doing, they're looking up at the cameraman instead of looking straight down the lens. And I think that's just inexperience. They're very good, these people I've seen do it on camera, but I think subconsciously they don't know they're doing it.
Yeah, I'd done a presenter course last week actually, and that was a real eye-opener. There were some actors, there was people, a girl from Hollyoaks was there, a couple, and you could just see they're looking at the lens like they're just looking at a person. They are so good.
And I guess they know when to not look at the lens, when they're in the character or they're doing some animated
just really
sketch.
Good.
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
But like you say, it's just being yourself though.
Yeah, I guess
just
so.
being yourself. Actually, when I'm not myself, I'm a bit too smiley, a bit too over the. You can just tell. But when
Jace is in the room.
I get a bit smiley again.
See, Toby's getting smiley. He is getting smiley.
He is.
Anyway,
gets a little bit blushes.
Ian Macmillan, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Great to have you on.
Good to be here.
Yeah.
In this very impressive building.
Yeah, no, it's the first time you've been here for a while, isn't it?
I've never been to this one. I went to the last, I won't call it factory because it's very degrading, premises. The old chicken sheds, as they used to call them, that was well, it wasn't even a factory, it was carnage.
Yeah.
So I haven't been to this one. And it was only you that I just presumed you were still at the old place, and then it was you that when you came, we met the other week, and you said, oh no, it's a new place.
We tried leaving him there, mate, but it didn't work.
He burrowed down through the concrete.
Yeah.
And followed you.
Yeah, like an old stain.
I think you're lovely. I think you've got a really nice, calming voice. And I did say that to Kathy as well. Who was in the room, by the way.
Kathy's with us.
She is.
Yeah, well, we'll let Kathy be the judge of that.
I can see her getting embarrassed now, and she hasn't even said anything. I can see the redness in her beautiful cheeks.
You're not on camera, Kathy, so don't worry.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so we're at the point of the show at the start, as always, where you've got a nice gift for us?
I have, and I've been so excited. I like giving gifts. I hate receiving gifts because I go really embarrassed, but I really like giving gifts, apart from when I don't give Kathy anything for her birthday.
Does that happen very often, Kathy?
Most years.
Ooh.
Kathy's just left the room, I think.
We got some making
We've
up
been
to do.
together a long time. We're not the sort of couple that are are turned on by materialistic things, are we, Kath?
How long have you two been together for?
We were discussing this because we're very lackadaisy about these things, and we
Yeah.
didn't actually know, but we think it's 16 years now since we've lived together. There was a couple of years before that while we were carrying on. We'll use those words, carrying
on.
In the dark days, which I'm sure will come out. So anyway, my gift, let's get off this, because if we start
Let's see
saying
the
too
gift.
many...
What have we got?
Okay, so the current situation with my health, this is so applicable. And it was a gift that was given to me by my late friend Jan Porter, who died of cancer. And it was given to me after his death by his wife, Mel. And I don't think this gift will ever be beaten. And I've only given it to you guys because you will cherish it and it will last forever, on the basis that we don't really know what my path is going to be. So I thought, rather than it get consumed in my fishing tackle, I'll give it to a worthwhile cause. And it's... Don't cry, Tong. This is only the second time I've got it out, and it's actually Jan's tackle box.
Wow.
So that is his tackle box in exactly the same state. See, I can't... Can you open that side? Because
Sure.
I'm not very good at doing things like that, because I'll tend to... So I'll give you that gift, because I know it will be cherished forevermore. So...
Can we see that on camera, Tobe? Is that...
Yeah, if you pick it up, we'll have a look.
And I have that's the third time it's ever been opened, and he's been dead nearly 5 years. So everything in there is what Jan will have taken fishing. And as you can see, there's a vast arrangement. And then the other side is more carpy, if you like. And it was just something that I would never use anything out there, because it was so precious to Jan. And I still picture him opening it and closing it.
Yeah, all his carp gears. Yeah, right. Wow. That's...
And I just thought that it would be a really nice gift to pass on,
Yeah.
so that when my path comes to an end, that will live on with you guys, so it'll be cherished. Hence why I asked you earlier what happens to all the prizes when the table is full.
Right.
And I just think it's a very personal gift to me,
It's massively personal,
and I think
mate.
it would be a massive honour for me to give it to a lot of people that I've got a lot of respect for here, who I know will cherish it like I have.
Well, it's an honour for us to take this.
I think it's, and I'm quite glad that you're not facing me with it, as in the tackle box, because I did look at it when I got it out of the loft, and I opened one side, which is the other side where the hooks have probably just fallen out of, because hence why I'm not good with technical things like that. So I like opening a tackle box,
I know,
because I probably locked it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But he was a massive inspiration for me, and I'm trying not to look it in the eye now so I don't get upset. But he was such a father figure to me. He's the sort of man that I think every man should aspire to be like. He was calm but intellectual. He was got such a lovely, gentle way about him. And his words of wisdom when I was at Shimano, and I was there for a long time, and he was always there by my side, if you like. And so when he passed away, I was in France fishing. And we were fishing at a lake. It was quite a controversial lake, so I won't name it in case I get shot. But there was an 80-pound common in there. Well, there was two. And Clive Gibbons, who was an agent for Korda, he caught it on the day that I was told of Jan's death. And the owners very kindly allowed us to name it, and we named him JP,
Right.
after Jan. But I got the call, and it was just dreadful. It was a very private funeral. He was buried in a eco coffin made out of biodegradable stuff. It was very Jan. Jan was a very old hippie guy with the guitar and the long hair. And there was a guy named Dean Hingley. There wasn't anybody from the fishing fraternity there. It was a very private family affair. But Dean was Jan's best mate. And Dean, everybody was allowed to sign the coffin before, and Dean wrote his name on it, and he also wrote my name on it. So I was really touched by the fact that I was with him. I kind of with him. I'm not a spiritual guy, but it meant a lot that I could be on the coffin with him, I guess. And then obviously when I got this gift, I was really struggling. I thought, do I use it so that he's with me every time? And I didn't even take a trinket out of it. To have people, some people have lucky charms, don't they? What they take fishing, like, and I've never been into that. And then I thought, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I thought I'm going to buy something after I'm over it to remind me of the dark days, you know. And I never did, because obviously then we got the news last summer, so it didn't seem applicable that I was going to beat it, so I didn't bother with that. But then I still couldn't bring myself to open that tackle box and take anything out of it.
No, it's sort of set in stone.
You are allowed to open it, and everybody that comes into this room can marvel over it. But,
I'm sure. He was such a respected guy. He was one of the first people that I remember watching, the videos that he used to on the river and stuff. He looked different as well, didn't he? With his long
he was
hair
funky, he was quirky.
He was.
And his nickname on the match team, when he used to dominate the Trent matches, he was the man in red.
Yeah.
And the reason he chose that attire was because it made him stand out when people saw him. So everybody was dressed in drab clothing like we all wear when we go fishing, but he was there in red, and that's how he became the man in red.
So did you know him through, because he was a Shimano consultant as well? Did you know him through that?
Yeah. I met him before that, and I liked him as a person. But we had a lot he was very instrumental in my appointment at Shimano in 2000. I think it was 2005, something like that. And then I became a paid consultant. It was around 2007, something like that. And I remember we went to Shimano headquarters, which at the time were near to Stratford, or down that way anyway, not far from Jan's place. And he met us in the pub, and he was just lovely. He was just a lovely man to spend time with. And it was he actually beat cancer, but then it came back.
I heard.
And I remember the last show we did, which was Five Lakes, which was probably, like I say, 4 or 5 years ago. And it was when Shimano had unveiled a new reel, and they had a really huge stand. It was very impressive, and Jan was there. But he was very weary. But nobody knew, not even me.
Right.
I'm not saying I was his best mate, but we were very, very close.
Right.
And we didn't know it was terminal then. Because if the hospital's anything like my hospital, they don't use, what they said to us is that we don't use the word terminal unless you're 6 months or less. But Jan will have known, because he died very shortly. That show was in the March, and he died in the late April. And we didn't know.
I know Damo just said today that he saw him at that show, and Jan came up to him and gave him a hug and said goodbye to him. And Damo at the time just thought it meant goodbye, and Jan was quite emotional. And it was only when he went and Damo thought about that and thought, actually,
that was his goodbye.
That was his goodbye. But and I mean, he lived a life a little bit as well, didn't he? By the sounds of it.
Yeah, he was a self-proclaimed failed musician.
Yeah.
Who still loved his music.
Yeah.
He was just a master at everything. Not just. I miss him so much, because I know he will be a big help to me through my battle, because my father died years ago, and me and my father weren't close, and I used to look at Jan as a bit of a father figure, because I've not always been a great person in my life, but I used to look at Jan and respected him because he was the sort of person that I wanted to be. I wanted to be more like Jan, because he always seemed so. He was always polite. He never swore. He wasn't like a typical man that I knew, because most blokes just take the piss out of one another, don't they? And because that's a way of hiding your emotions, whereas Jan didn't have a problem with putting his arms around you and tell you that he loved you, and that was the mark of the man that he was, which is why he was so well respected.
Yeah.
And he could say things that would really move you, but also he could be in silence with him. Sometimes I would be looking at him like out the corner of my eye, and almost mesmerised by him, just by his whole persona, and how he can make you relax, and he can make you almost say things that you probably aren't that comfortable saying. Yeah.
You're not the first person to say that about him either, but he seems to have shared his wisdom with quite a few people as well, who've gone through different stuff as well, and he really did seem to leave a mark on people.
Not many like him come around that often.
No,
I don't think.
No, you feel quite lucky when you know people.
I'm blessed that I knew him.
Yeah.
For as long as I did, really, I'm very, very blessed, and I feel very blessed.
Thank you very much for this. We will
enjoy it. Let everybody marvel at the wonder of Jan Porter's tackle box. It's very Jan because it's broken on one side, and it's obviously got camo tape on.
Yeah, right.
Because everything Jan had to be camouflaged.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, even you remember his van.
Well, he went from one extreme to the next, really, didn't he? You say, he went from the red to all the tribal gear, didn't he? Yeah.
Well, he was the instigator of Team Tribal all those years ago at Shimano, and it was when camouflage wasn't really the done thing, and Of course, he's turning up at shows head to toe in it, and even his bloody van is wrapped in camouflaged, and he had a private number plate, which was T21 BAL. So if you messed around with the numbers a bit, it said tribal, and he was Mr. Tribal. He was Mr. Shimano. He always will be.
Yeah.
He always whilst, and it wasn't something that I took on what I wanted. I ended up, from Shimano's own doing, I was the face of Shimano after Jan, and I take pride in that,
Yeah, good. Should we just get some not so great stuff out the way now?
Yeah.
And then we can just move on.
I know
with
you're
this
itching to
podcast.
talk about it.
No, honestly, no, we're not. I think people that are listening to this obviously just want to know how you are and what's going on with your illness. So we'll get this out the way.
And then
early,
get on to fishing.
And then we'll just get on to
the
fishing.
real reason I'm here.
So last night you put a post out.
Yes, we are the 3rd of March now. Does it matter about saying the dates?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. So we had a scan in November that was clear. Basically, after surgery, they left some cancer on my omentum, which we knew was there anyway. So I got scanned in August, and it was showing. So basically, during surgery, all the small cells that we didn't know were there were seen and felt during surgery, hence being deemed as inoperable and incurable. So we knew all this. So then I got scanned in November, and the cancer traces on my omentum had gone, completely disappeared, and still the small cells weren't showing, because these small cells that are widespread in my peritoneum, which is all your stomach area and your bowel area, they don't show up on CT scans, which you would think is madness in today's day, but they didn't. So then I had a scan on the Saturday of the Northern Show in the afternoon, which was last Saturday, and we got the results yesterday, and it turns out that there is now a 1.5 centimetre tumour by my stomach lining and my spleen, around that area on the left-hand side. So it wasn't great, because we'd had such good results in November, and I've put weight back on. I've put a stone back on, and I feel good. And everybody said you look good.
You really do look good. Yeah.
But I've been on a 6-week break from chemo, so all the rashes died down. I'd lost some of my eyebrows and some of my eyelashes, the hairs on my arms, and sorry. So they told us yesterday. It's grown, basically, and then the issue is for me that we went straight from the hospital to my sister's, where my mum was, to tell my sister and my mum. So we're concerned that the cells that weren't showing on the scan, something around that area has now progressed into a 1.5 centimetre tumour in 3 months. So it's gone from not even being visible on a scan to now being visible. Now 1.5 centimetres isn't huge, but in the terms of growth for a cancerous tumour, I'm worried. I've gone from being quite buoyant, thinking, well, I might have however many years, and now I'm concerned, because I think, straight away they've taken my PICC line out, because they're now changing my chemotherapy, because it's obvious whatever chemotherapy they were giving me is not working. I'm still taking my cannabis oil. I've done the Rick Simpson protocol of suppositories, so we may look at that again, because during those 3 months I was doing that was when I was scanned and the cancer on my omentum had gone. So it may be, no one will ever know, because they're never going to cut me back open to find out. So we're now 24 hours in from the scan results, and me and Kath have smiled. I took extra cannabis last night to make me sleep, but I was still up early. Yeah. And I've been to see my mum again. So my mum was really upset and went to my sister's. I don't think it really hit me till today. Now I'm still here. I'm still breathing.
Well, you've been in good spirits since
I've
you've been
in
here.
Amazing spirits, because we didn't expect this. We thought, because I've put weight on, because everybody seems to have this opinion, the classic cancer victim is the skinny guy with no hair, and that doesn't always happen. Most of the people I see in the chemotherapy ward, periodic, some people have got no hair, mainly women that they've lost the hair, but they're not all stick thin and 5 stone. There's different size. I have seen a few people like that, but that's not always cancer eating people. That is caused because of the nausea and the maybe diarrhea and things like that from the side effects of the chemo. So I know I'll bounce back from this. And Kathy's come with me today because she, and I did want her to come because I didn't want to drive in all this way on my own. And but I worry more for them, my mum, Kath, because I can handle it. I've made my peace with death. Now that may seem really flippant, but now somebody's told me that something is growing, I'm shitting myself. I'm really scared, really, really scared.
Have the doctors given you any sort of indication what can be done now and whether they can?
Well, they're going to change my chemo, and they're going to make inquiries to refer me to the Christie, which is a specialised cancer hospital in Manchester, where they have trial drugs, and there's trials ongoing for bowel cancer, which I may qualify for, I may not, but a trial is just that, isn't it? It's a trial, so. But you'll take your chances because when all the chemotherapy that they can offer me in Stoke, has stopped working, that's when your clock is ticking.
Right.
My oncologist said that she'll never use the words terminal until there's no more treatment she can give me. Right. And I think it's knocked me now. It didn't sort of hit me till this morning. I woke up at 3:30 and I woke you up, didn't I? And I couldn't get back to sleep. And there's times where I look at her and I feel guilt for that because I'm going to drag her through it all and I'm not going to be there at the end. And I look at you and Tobe and all the people that have been to see me today and I'm going to lose a lot of people. Everybody's going to lose me, I get that, but I'm going to lose a lot of people that I love and a lot of people that I've got a lot of respect for. And that fucking hurts. It really does hurt. But I'll bounce back from this. Yeah. I've had bad news, and I'm not rock bottom, but I know I'll bounce back because, and it was really soulless to put a video. It's easier for me to make these little clips like that than type it. It's easy. I can just talk to my camera and keep people updated, which I do every few months. I don't want to bore people to tears with it every single week because people have got their own lives to live. But I've had so much love and care and support from Facebook since I got diagnosed. And it's been really comforting. It really has been comforting.
It's a great community, isn't it?
It is. And whilst we all know what social media can be bad for me it's been really, really comforting. And I know it has for Kathy. And my mum doesn't even understand it. She calls it face ache. She hasn't even got a smartphone that she can log on to Facebook. So she calls it face ache, so she doesn't understand the whole power of social media that you can reach so many people with whatever you want to reach them with.
So I mean, it has its negatives. We all know about that.
Yes.
But when you can present something to everybody like that, it comes from the heart, doesn't it?
It does, and it's there's so many people out there that are probably worse off than me. And some of these people have messaged me where they're also terminal. I'd like to think that I'm not at that. It's not about my stage isn't as bad as other people's, but they haven't. If mine was that bad now, they wouldn't even be offering me chemotherapy. They told us in hospital after surgery that the chemotherapy, it's there to prolong your life. But the worrying thing is I've just done 6 months chemo straight. Some tough times. Not just the steroids they give you after, they make you really tired, and then I get really emotional and irrational, and even more so than normal. And I don't like that. I don't like it being in my body because it's invasive. But I know it's helping to keep me alive. So when you've just done 6 months straight and you've just done a big hit of cannabis course, and to find something that's grown is tough to take. It is tough to take because I think now that I'll possibly have less time than I like to think that I may have had. Right.
But you're the sort of person that can reset everything, and start again and this is the next.
But people only see what they want to see, don't they? People see me as the jokey, pissing around kind of type, people that they see on the open access films and they see me at shows and I'm a buoyant guy and I can be positive, but I have some really bad days. Really bad days,
But that positivity, you can see that in the room here when you come in here, and you know,
It was
you're full
lovely.
of banter. And
I thought I would be really emotional when I saw people like Damo and Tom, but I managed to keep a lid on it. And I thought I would blub when I got that up, but I didn't. And cancer doesn't upset me. Yesterday's results upset me, and then I look at my mum, and then I look at Kath, and that upsets me. When we came out of hospital, it was really, it was tough in hospital. But then you get used to being in that cocoon of safeness in a hospital. People coming and going in and out the room. They like, Kathy, stay with me. And then when we went home, it's all real. That you're back in your house, and I hated it. I wish they'd have turned the machines off. I really felt like that, and I felt like that a few times. But and we just used to sit looking at each other, didn't we, and crying, and just being really emotional. And it was tough. It was real tough.
But I know what that's like, being on the other side of that. And if people are looking at you and you're positive, and it just injects.
Yeah.
It's like it injects adrenaline into the people around you as well. It makes such a difference as well. And you know, you're kind of worrying about everybody else, but everyone's ultimately looking at you. And if they're seeing you doing positive,
but sometimes it's hard to remain positive. I keep looking at her because I'm really clingy with her again, like I was in hospital once. I was really, we were inseparable because she was so helpful in hospital. And it was ever so weird that all the things that I thought would bother me in hospital, to do with vanity more than anything, completely go out the window when you're walking around the ward in a nappy, you know. And now I think that's probably what's changed me as a person, that I don't mind what I say to everybody, which sometimes is already getting me in trouble because I didn't give a shit what I said most of the time anyway, but now it's even worse. I have to put a rein on it. But I'm not an easy person to live with a lot of the time, but it's made me more, or hoping it's made me more caring towards other people's feelings. And other people's situations, people that message me with their problems about a family member that's got cancer, people that want help with, how can I get this cannabis oil? And I'm happy to help people.
You're quite a big advocate of that, aren't you, by the sounds of it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not at this precise moment as I'm looking at you, because after what happened just today, because you think, well, but like Kathy said, could it have grown more if it wasn't for the cannabis that you were taking, you know? So I'm thinking about doing the suppository course again to see if that makes a difference on the next scan, but it's quite expensive to do the full hit. And I know you can't put a price. So we're just trying to look at every avenue, really. Because you want somebody to blame. I want somebody to blame why I've got cancer, you know, and you'll never get that answer.
Or you want something that gives you a bit of faith as well, that this could actually, you know, like with trial drugs and stuff like that, you know, there is always something that could potentially, you know.
But if it needs to focus around my fishing. One of the drugs they're going to put me on from next Wednesday can attack your fingers and give you pins and needles badly, to the point where you can't touch anything out the fridge. Even picking up a cold knife or fork out the drawer, something like that might have a big impact. So if that happens, I was adamant yesterday. I was quite vocal with the oncologist and said, I'm not having it, because if I can't go fishing, you may as well put me in a box. And then you could see that she wanted me to try this drug, because it's obviously got records and it's got proof that it works. So I'm going to try it, and if I do get the pins and needles, because if I can't tie rigs, or I can't handle fish, or I can't put my hands in the water, then there's no point, because that's not a quality of life.
Yeah,
I don't want to sit at home being all down in the dumps all the time, because that's not who I am.
I saw a few rigs being tied in the hospital as well, weren't there?
Yes, I have. Yeah, well, I thought I didn't have the heart to take in my bucket of pallets and things like that, because they stink. Tying some little mesh bags, I could have got quite a few done in 10 hours. But I have taken all my choddy stuff in, and why not? You know, I'm prepared. But fishing is what pulls me through. My family and fishing, and within fishing, I've got a huge family, a lot of good friends, a lot of people that say nice things, and it's nice. It's been very, very comforting. The fishing world really has.
I saw you on DNA, their film recently. You were at Brasenose, weren't you?
Why are you smiling? Because of blank.
How many did you catch?
Probably as many as you did when you went with Damo and he pulled your pants down. Or was it Dovey that did that?
It was Dovey, actually.
Both.
Damo struggled, actually. Well,
Damo never struggles.
He doesn't like those sort of lakes.
Damo's a big fish angler.
He's already they're too small, aren't they? If they're under £80, they're not worth catching, are they?
Yeah, the Brasenose.
I enjoyed that. That was a nice
watching
one.
me blank?
No,
It's
not watching you blank.
It's not a bit
but,
of me anymore. It's not a bit
that sort of fishing's not you.
No, I was doing it 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's not me anymore. There's a savage crosswind. I got out of the van and I said to Bart, I said, right, what's the script? He went, just pick a tree and pick a range. It's a bit soulless for me.
Yeah, it's
I like to find a spot, and Brasenose 2 was closed, and there's lots of features in there, so I'd have rather gone on there and found a spot, and then if you blank, you sort of can understand that you blanked for a reason. But Bartlett smacked him up to me right, and I took Beachy, my best mate, and he had 2 to me left. And you think, well, they've come through me. I was fishing reasonably tight. Some of my spods went a bit wayward, but Bartlett is immense.
I noticed that. I mean, you seem like quite shocked actually.
I was in awe.
What you'd learnt from those guys, and considering how long you've been doing this for, I mean, were you really that surprised?
I've known Bart some years. I've never fished with him, and he's match credentials go before him, don't they? There's people like him and Kev that are very good. There was Harry Charrington and Alexi that were always top of the tree, and now obviously the last few years it's been Wayne Mansfield and Ryan Need. But I've never witnessed it like that, and he was obviously he's only fishing a bit further out than me, but he's a big strong guy, Bart, and he's punching this big spawn through the wind, and everyone is landing on the sides of this table. And I mean, well, you saw I don't know how he did it on one of the quick change swivels. He mustn't have clipped his rig on properly, so the rig has come off. He's reeled the lead in. I've watched it come in, and there's no bloody rig on it. So we just put it down to him being a dickhead or something. So then he's reeled his other rod in to recast, and he's hooked that rig.
Unbelievable.
That is how tight these boys are fishing.
Is that
even the trajectory when he's feeling the lead down, and some people will hold the rod vertically.
That makes so much of a difference.
Yeah, you can follow it down.
Yeah.
So for him to know the trajectory and that depth of water, to hook that rig, and people, I think Mozza put a picture of it on Instagram or something. People go, that's never happened. He's hooked that on. Well, I was there.
He did.
Beachy was there. Mozza was there. He did it. These boys are that capable of fishing.
So what are they? Is it just fishing really, really tight then, or
yeah?
And you said he was very active for the whole session as well. So was he swapping and changing a lot?
He wasn't. I mean, my mate Beachy, he's just lovely to be with. He's fun, and I like being around him because he's a div. And he makes me laugh because he's a bit like watching a Laurel and Hardy film that somewhere along the way he's going to fuck something up.
Does this sound familiar, Ted?
This is a bit like what I witnessed in this office. This is a bit like the Toby and Simon show. So Beachy he looks at me to guide him because Beachy's not that experienced. He's a roofer, he's got a busy family life, and he always comes to France with me. And if I say to him, tie that rig, put it there, hop on one leg in that boat whilst playing with your cock, and you'll catch a 60-pounder. That's exactly what he will do. Exactly. More playing with the cockpit because he does like to have his hands down his trousers quite a lot.
That's it.
Yeah, it's a bloke thing. And he said to me, oh, you're not doing this, what Bart's doing. Well, I won't play around with maggots. I hate them. They grow on rotting flesh. Why would you want to touch them?
Yeah, right.
And I think once you go maggots, there's no way back. Yeah. I really don't. So they banned it linear. So Bart was just threading a few. They were doing the typical little pop up with a few maggots on the top. But Bart was tying rigs, and Beachy's saying, "You're not doing anything like this." I said, "Yeah, because I do all mine at home. All my prep's done at home. So when I get to that lake, all I've got to do is find some carp. What I don't normally do is get to a lake where there's 2 swims free, and Bart says to me, just pick a tree and pick a range."
Yeah.
Because then it's like bingo fishing, isn't it? It's roulette fishing where if the wheel stops on your swim and they have a little feed.
So do you think that's what it was? I mean, do those guys, have they got the same level of preparation going into a session, or do they kind of do it more on the spot while they're actually there?
I get the impression from Bart that they're so relaxed, him and Kev, and I've heard him say this before, that basically we don't fish qualifiers or matches on lakes that we don't like. So basically they look at it as, well, we take a barbecue, we have a bit of trance music on, and we catch some fish. Yeah. So chilled, honestly. Like he got the first bite, No, I run around like an headless chicken, do a few star jumps, and then pick the rod up because I've just shit myself because I've had a bite. Bart just picks it up, nice and relaxed, just playing it ever.
I saw that.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And in the middle of when he had all those fish on the second night,
is he really excited though?
He loves it, but he's just chilled. He's caught so many carp in his life that he doesn't get excited. He just doesn't. He loves it. He absolutely loves fishing, but he also loves spending time sitting on a seat box, looking after his kids. You know, he's such a good guy.
Yeah.
Because he's not all just focused about fishing.
Yeah.
So chilled, really chilled. I mean, he went one of the fish. I don't know. He went through my lines in the night, and he obviously woke me up. But he didn't take any of my lines out. He gets it. You know, he's just good at under pressure. Him and Kev just get it, like a bit like Wayne and Ryan will, or a bit like any good partnership. I guess how Danny and Damien used to be when they won it years ago. They know what each other's strengths are. I think Kev said, I heard Kev on a podcast saying, if I need to put a rig on the side on a dustbin lid, I'll put it there if it's under 120 yards. If I need a rod absolutely leathering as far as we can, I'll give it to Bart. Because he's got the brute strength, whereas, Kev is a bit more refined and obviously not as good a caster as Bart. They just know what...
There's a nice compromise between the two of them.
They know what each other is good at.
So what would you do if you were going back there again now in the same sort of situation? Apart from
wouldn't go back.
You're not going to just aim at that tree.
The lakes had been flooded. So it was just really, really... I was kind of glad I didn't get a bite in the end because I was bivvied at the back. I didn't bivvy right next to my rods because it was just a shithole. No way am I doing that. So I actually put my bivvy on a little bit of the path. So it was nice, but probably about 20 yards away from my rods. So every time I'm going to redo my rods, I'm prancing through this mud like some sort of puppet. Bart and Moz were just laughing.
Must have absolutely
I didn't have my chest waders.
Yeah.
Well, Bart just spent most of the 48 hours in his chest waders.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I didn't have my waders. But it's just not me.
So you would go to a different lake altogether if you were...
I'd either go on I used to do a lot of time on Hardwick years ago because it's got more features, it's more interesting fishing, and I cut my teeth a lot on Hardwick because I was a weekend angler and you could get... No one was on there because its reputation went before it as being tricky because you had to think about your fishing. So I honed my skills and on places like there and Horseshoe. So I'd gone from Park Lakes in Stoke where you don't feel anything because it's just weed, completely out of a depth really, and you go down to Oxford and you have to step up, you have to, and you learn really quickly. And 20 years ago there was no social media and there was no videos and DVDs and stuff like that. You know, you asked people on the bank or you made it up or you figured it out yourself.
You used to spend a lot of time down. I remember once actually, I was fishing on Manor and I was waiting for a takeaway. And you were waiting for a takeaway as well. We were waiting for the same guy to turn up.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet we both had the same really terrible experience in the Portaloo in the morning if it was from there. It
not
was
great.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Actually, getting to OCD and all this sort of stuff. I mean, where does all that come from? And has it got worse over the years for you?
Yes. Yeah. Even last week, I was fishing in a lovely lodge at Blackthorn Fishery. It's like your house, and you're fishing out of these massive patio doors. And I had 6 carp to over £40 last week. It was lovely. And you think, and you're sitting on the pat. I had a 21, 2 28s, a 32, a 36, and a £40 12. Biblical fish, amazing looking carp. And I was sitting inside the lodge watching the TV, and it was 25 degrees on the thermostat. Proper winter fishing. But then you open the patio door and think, it looks lovely for a bite, and then you just shut it because it's freezing, freezing cold.
So is that the lake you filmed at? Have you filmed there?
We filmed there in June.
Is that where you done the mindsets?
Yes, we did. Yeah, so I fished in one of those lodges, and Charlie's been closed for a month to redecorate the lodges that didn't need decorating because they're immaculate. And he said, "I've got a session free tong if you want to come over." So, but he's obviously got all clean and stuff. So I was actually, because I was bored, I take everything out of my bag and I'm hoovering my bag, hoovering all the side pockets, take my leads out, my little lead pouch, hoover in there. I've hoovered individual things, but then I'm complete as a person. I can then sit down and think, right, well, I had no more rigs to do. I tied loads of bags. Like I'm totally prepared now for the spring. I've got all my bags done, solid bags done. I've got all the rigs that I only use a couple of rigs. I suppose like any angler that's been doing it for quite a long time, you don't tend to swap and change. So I'm completely prepared. Hence why I'm always prepared, because if I've used 20 bags in a session, I'll know that subconsciously. So then I'll make sure I put half an hour aside when I get home that I could just tie some bags.
Oh my God. But you'd think being like that as well, that you'd always have to be doing stuff all the time, because
I am
otherwise
a bit.
you've got to, because otherwise you're going to be thinking too much. You overthink.
Yes, I do like to. I like just chilling, drinking tea and smoking on my vape. I like that, but I do like to be doing stuff. Me and Clive call it carp stuff. So carp stuff can be anything. It's a really generic saying, because it can be anything like just sitting by your rods, doing nothing, sitting in your bivvy doing nothing, looking for carp, tying a rig, anything that's got a fishing activity in it is carp stuff. But once you've done that, there's only so much carp stuff you can do, and then you just have to sit there and get your phone out and have a play on your phone. But weirdly, I don't play on my phone much when I'm fishing.
Right.
I'd rather just sit there and watch the lake. The only thing about blackthorn is they don't show in the winter. Now, you may say they will show at some point. Well, I'm not going to sit outside when it's 1 degree and sleeting. We're looking for a carp at 3 a.m. I'm tucked up in a bed where it's 25 degrees, sleeping like a baby.
That's an amazing venue like that. You just said, I went out last week and had a few 20 and a fish over 40 pounds. I mean, if we were talking like that 20 years ago, that would just sound absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, it's not happened overnight at Charlie's. I was the first guy to cast out and catch carp from there. I did a few magazine features back in the day when there were only singles and low doubles. And we've always got on really well, Charlie. I've been there a few times. It's not an easy venue. I think whilst it doesn't sound easy, sound hard, I think there's 80 or 90 fish in 4.5, 5 acres. But because Zigs are banned, they just live off the bottom. They know where they're safe. And they're just moody. Yeah. Even Mozza said the VS fish are a far moodier fish to catch than the Simo. That's what Mozza thinks.
Right.
And obviously he works with Simo. But that's his opinion. But and it's not
Does he say why that's his opinion?
I don't know.
I noticed on my syndicate leg that they put some in at the start of the year. They went through a bit of they got caned for a few months. They did go quiet though, actually. Once they all had a hook in their mouths, they did, but not necessarily.
I mean, I had all 6 bites in 20 hours. I ended up doing 3 nights because I had all 3 bites on the middle rod, and it really did. It sort of cracked down on this spot. There's no weed in the place. You just pick something in your swim, and I just have a few casts with the lead. If I get a better drop, that'll do. So I had a bite after 15 minutes, and I just put it down to look, and then I had another one 2 hours later, and I thought, well, I'm onto something. I hadn't put much out. I put a bit of S7 out, not a lot. A little pink wafter, a little mesh bag of pallets. And the mesh bag is only there. I use them a lot because I'm really paranoid about tangles. So if I'm fishing at a range that isn't going to compromise my accuracy, I'll use a bag, so I know that I'm fishing without being tangled. So I'd had these 2 bites, so I thought I was onto something. So then I moved the other 2 rods, so they're almost tramming at the same spot. They didn't like that. No more liners for an hour. So then I moved the left and the right away. The liners started again. Then I had a bite, £36.
That's surprising. You'd think they
were obviously on that, so focused on that one spot, and I didn't want to go what probably Damo would call tram lining, when you're literally tramming. I was probably 6 foot from my middle rod either side, which is still close enough. They didn't like that.
Really?
But then I moved them, and then I got another bite.
I've always thought with that the tighter you can tram, then that's like if you can tram 3 rods within a 3 or 4 foot area. That's the equivalent to like having just one line going straight out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
they didn't like it.
They didn't like that.
They really didn't. And literally within half an hour of moving them, the liner started. Then I had a 36, which was it was in the daylight because the picture was in daylight. Then I had a 32 something. It's about 7 at night, and then I had a £40 12. It was just about an hour before first light. So I called the bailiff, said just leave it in the sling.
That's good angling to notice that though. Do you think a lot of people would not necessarily think, these lines being tight together are actually hindering me?
I mean, I was using fluoro as well, so they were pretty slack. I don't fish super slack anymore because you can get done and not. You don't see Steve Ringer or a decent feeder angler sitting there with a slack line to his feeder, do you? Somewhere semi-slack is what, but I do like fluoro because I like to get it down, and I can always tell by the speed of the liners. The liners are quite slow, and that indicates to me that you almost like if you've got a pike going through your lines under your tips, it's really quick. And I always think the slower the liner, the closer they are to your hook bait, and that proved right. But so I had the 40 pounder, and then I had a 28 common at dinner time. So that was me 24 hours done. So I had 6 fish. And I thought I was doing 2 nights anyway, and I was still getting liners, so no more bites. So then in the morning when I was supposed to go, I was still getting a couple of liners, and they forecast snow, so I'd taken extra food. There was no problems about conditions because it was still 160 degrees in the cabin. I was loving it. I was getting a bit bored of watching the shit on the daytime TV. And I was still getting liners when I went, so I pulled the third night. Kathy, she said, yeah, stay. And I was still getting liners, not as many. I just think they got a bit bored of being smacked on that spot. And I was continually trying to move my others. I was fishing at 13 wraps, so real short. So I'd keep moving the other 2 rods because I knew it was almost like I could have put them away or just cast them in the field. I just didn't think I was going to get a bite on them. So I kept moving them around to just try and get liners. And I didn't get a beep. And the wind was coming from sort of left to right, and it was smacking into the reeds to my right. But it's cold. It's real cold from the north. And you think they're surely not going to be down there, but I didn't put a rod down there, and I kept kicking myself, thinking, no, I probably should have done. But it was a great winter sessions. Don't happen to me very often because normally I don't do nights. Because I feel the cold a lot more now. I stick to days really if I can in the winter.
Yeah, no, that's a great session at this time of year. They're the most memorable ones, aren't they? As well,
and the fish are lovely.
Are they?
Really nice looking carp, and the place is immaculate.
Yeah,
but it's not like fishing. I've fished in lodges before when I've gone to France, and I will do again when I go to Pascal's in May. But it's not like fishing. It's too easy to get distracted by the TV or by hoovering up or doing something like that, Is that
somewhere that you probably return to a fair bit if you can, in the future as well, because it just sort of suits everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, me and Kathy went to Lake Bala, which isn't far from there, and Carl the bailiff, his dad owns a caravan. He let us stay in his static caravan in the middle of this lovely picturesque valley in the middle of nowhere, no phone signal. So we took that to take the key back to Blackthorn. So Kathy saw the lodges and she wanted to come, but I said, I think you'll get bored because you can't sit outside in this weather. It was freezing. It was really cold, And she'd been there in the summer when we dropped the key off, and she said, oh my God, it's amazing.
You should try the Cotswold Water Park as well. There's a few places like that down there as well, aren't there?
Yeah.
Wildmoor and
Cherry Lakes, things
Cherry
like
Lakes,
that.
that's
there's the market for this, I think one of the lads in the office said earlier, the Charlie gets bookings from non-anglers, and he prefers that because then they're not molesting his fish. They're still paying the same price for the lodge.
They just want to be sitting by a lake, it looks
and
great.
It's lovely. It's a really beautiful setting, no light pollution. It's really nice. And is that the future? It's superficial carp fishing because it's immaculate.
It's just having a little bit for everyone, isn't it? We can still do what we want to do, can't we?
I don't want to fish in, like the Brazos thing, I don't want to fish in mud and shit. I don't want to, like things that Darryl did when he's on the Orient.
You didn't like that?
No. Why would I want to do that? He lost, how much weight did he lose?
It looked like he'd been on a Himalayan expedition, didn't it?
On that big beard, cost him his van, and I think no carp is worth that. But it's each individual's journey, isn't it? It's what they want to fish for and what they want to catch and how much effort they want to do. To get that.
Yeah, some of us like the wild adventure, don't we? And some of us, it's like going on holiday, isn't it? Some of us like a camping holiday, and maybe some like lamping, and hotels. It's just what it is for.
We're all individuals, aren't we?
Individually,
and it doesn't. As long as you get to the end goal, doesn't really matter how you get there.
No.
As long as you're not annoying anybody.
Exactly.
And I've always been the same. Where I've fished waters where some of the fish were brought in from Europe, legally and illegally. And I've always had the same stance that if I'm not hurting you, you haven't got the right to judge me that I'm fishing for a fish that you don't think is worthy. A lot of that are now, thankfully, is drifting away because carp fishing is so big. There's almost not enough waters for everybody now, what with predation. So people have also eased off. The Keep It Real Brigade, if you want to call them that. They're very much a dwindling race, if you like.
I saw a Rob Hales thing recently with his stock. The speed that he can get those fish up to £30 now as well. It's unbelievable.
Well, I was on the Avenue when Tom Doherty had that bite that turned out to be big rig. The fish that beat the current record. It wasn't recognised because they said it was artificially farmed. But Tom was distraught. Now my phone went into meltdown. I had to charge my phone twice, and I hadn't even caught the bloody thing. I witnessed the bite. I was in his swim when he had the bite. When he landed, everything. It was amazing. And all he did was cast out and catch a fish. It just happened to be bigger than anything else that had ever been landed in the UK. And it was always going to cause controversy because I think it was put in the lake. It was a home fen fish. It was an Israeli. I think Rob bought it at £37-38 and all this. Oh, he's force-fed it boilies. What do you think this guy does? He's just sit him on his knee and pop him down the throat, make him eat. It's not a kid that you can that can force. You can force feed humans. You can't force feed an animal.
Yeah.
It's just.
But we're just getting better at breeding fish now as well. There are
Absolutely.
there are more fish breeders around nowadays, and they're getting pretty damn good at knowing what it takes to get those fish big quickly as well. And we just need to keep with the times a little bit.
You've got other fish in that stock pond that didn't even make half that weight that big rig. But what people have said, because it was in a stock pond and then it got put into a lake, well, that's what happens with all reared fish. Whether you buy them off Simo, off Viv Shears, off whoever's manufacturing, I say manufacture for whoever's breeding them, they're all putting them in a pond, feeding them for a means to make money. So are they force feeding carp? Does Simo sit there and force feed us? No, of course he doesn't.
No.
If they want to eat it, they eat it.
And there's just if you can grow a 30-pound carp quickly and they're more readily available, there is just demand.
Supply and
it's just
demand.
like, sorry, but that's the way it is. You know?
I mean, there's loads of lakes now popping up with like this commercial, if you like. Blackthorn's it's beautiful. There's lots of them in Shropshire, all over the country. But people are seeing that the fact that there's so many new anglers coming into carp fishing, they need somewhere to fish. So people, it's a business to people.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I think
it's going to interest people more and keep them more, more interested in going fishing when you've got that kind of those those bigger fish as well.
It's weird, isn't it? That the newcomers to fishing now, I think, they're more driven by weight and I wouldn't say fame, but almost so they can catch something and put it on social media. I think some people lose the grasp of why they go fishing. I went fishing on a club lake yesterday morning with Egg, a friend of mine. I had a fish that was probably between 16 and 19 pound. We had a great day. Unfortunately, it turned into a shit day in the end, but we had a great day. And I'll fish for doubles, and I'll appreciate that side of it. I've been fishing a long time, so yes, I like to catch big fish. I get my big fish buzz from France or Europe. We'll hire a lake, or we'll go to somewhere where it's quiet, where we aren't competing against anglers. We're competing against the fish. Whereas you go to somewhere like Brasenose, or you go to busy commercial lakes, and you're against the anglers. The anglers are making the fish behave
without
unnatural.
a doubt. It feels like the generations have switched over now. When we started, we were starting with old carp, and now they're dying away, and new fish are coming along, and new anglers are coming along that just don't know anything about history.
That's right.
So they're
does that matter?
It doesn't, does it? I mean, it does for some, and does.
Of course, it does. Some people have got different stances on what. I know you fish at Savay, Damo fishes at Savay.
But that's a classic example. I mean, we've got new fish in there now. And at the moment, you can imagine some of the guys are not necessarily over the moon about it, and it's different, isn't it? It's just a change.
But then if that hadn't happened or isn't happening, when they've got a lake with no fish in, they're going to moan that there's no fish in.
Yeah, I think we've got some cracking looking fish in there now anyway, and I think in 20 years' time we will be grateful.
Yeah. The problem is with today's societies, they want it bigger, quicker, faster, more readily available. Well, that's because the information about carp fishing is there. That is it's all there, isn't it? Whether it's from Korda or Fox or Nash, the media content that's put out there to drive carp fishing forward is there. But unfortunately, the lakes aren't. There is lakes that are, Home Fen being another one, but lots of big fish. All these lakes with big fish are they're fully booked. We went to Rich Wilby's place last year at Mustang. Now, I'd been to Rich's 10 years ago when they were all singles, so it was lovely to go back, and I caught a 33 or 34 pounder. But that's amazing now, because he's fully booked. It's not day ticket as such. He rents the lake per week, so his business is rope for the next 2 years because he's fully booked. So he's already made he hasn't got a stress. He lives on site. He knows who's coming on and off. He hasn't got a constant flow of anglers every 24 hours, so he can relax a bit more. But that's because he's got lots of big fish, which is good fishery management from the 10 years that he's had the lake.
No, of course it is.
People don't see that,
No.
and they're quick to, it's only £21, and they may not give it the respect it deserves. Well, or they might mistreat it, or I don't know. But they don't understand how much a £21 costs. Probably £1,000 worth of fish there, and you're thinking, it's a shitter. Well, a £21 isn't a shitter, is it? It's you should appreciate carp. I like getting a bite. I absolutely pat myself when I get a bite, and I still do, and I love it.
Well, that's what I mean about seeing that film when there's a bite, like when Mark got the bite, and it's just like maybe he's just so used to catching salmon. But I always get that excitement. But
when you're fishing waters like Savay, or if you're fishing on a campaign water, or a syndicate, and you're there for the long haul, you appreciate the bites more, don't you? You know?
Oh, yeah,
you're not
you
expected to catch 10 in a session.
How did you get into it all? Were you like a born angler?
I'm still not a born angler. I really struggle at times. Sometimes I'll fish really well and catch nothing, or continually mess things up, and then other times I'll fish like a complete buffoon and not do anything special, like last week, and I catch 6 carp.
So growing up with fishing, I mean, did you?
I didn't. My dad was a fisherman, so I got into it with him because he'd never let me use his gear really. But I did used to once I got my own like people don't even remember Woolworths, do they? The old Woolworths tackle kit that everybody
They
had.
were our first rods.
They were first little. Well, it's a
for
kit,
many of
wasn't it,
us,
you know?
yeah.
So we'd just go down the canal, float fishing for anything, and then we started to fish this basin on the canal. We got a bit more stuff. Then I got like a Shakespeare box with a Bennett's a Sheffield hold-all, and we thought we were the bollocks, you know. We're just fishing for anything. And I still keep in touch with my mates Steve Hurst, Grant Williams. We've known each other 35 years. But over the canalway was this lake called the Overflow. Still there now. Me and Kath will walk along the canal, and it's right next to the incinerator. And the Michelin factory used to be there. So the whole place used to have the smell of rubbish or rubber. And we walked past there the other week, and I could smell that incinerator smell. And I said to Kath, "Oh, it reminds me." And I was sort of reminiscing like this, and she said, "We're next to a tip, and you're liking the smell." I said, "Well, it's a smell that reminds me of happy things, you know." And lots of things now, because of my health, make me smile and remind me of
associations.
Yeah, songs in particular. Coming down here, we've got like an 80s D8 on the radio, and I can still recall songs that remind me of certain people and certain fishing primarily. I mean, I've drifted in and out of it so many times.
So when you were as a teenager and stuff, were you just fishing, or were you doing a lot of other stuff?
I obviously passed my test. Well, that was the world was my oyster then. And I had a blue Cavalier, registration KCG 480Y. That's how much I am obsessive compulsive disorder. And I even remember my mate's registration.
I can remember my dad's registration.
Yeah, I'm really
A27 VMR, so an A-Ridge car. I always remember that as well.
So that was pre-63.
Yeah, that was 80.
No, it wasn't. Oh no, the old A. Oh, I thought you meant the A-Reg before. Yes. Yeah. So that was that was 84.
Yeah.
Because Y-Reg was 83.
Isn't it? We can remember some of those.
God, we're old.
What is that all about? I can't remember anything anyway, but I can remember that. You know.
But we used to. That gave us. We were just going off everywhere then. Obviously, those sat navs, fishing loads of different lakes, and then I think periodically that I've sold my fishing tackle probably 4 or 5 times.
Do you think that's a mistake?
Absolutely.
Every time
Absolutely.
I've never done that, and I've spent quite a few years of not going fishing, but I would never ever sell my fishing gear.
It's only from the trends that I was following at that time. So motorbikes, split screen camper vans, football, drugs, booze. I've done it 4 or 5 times, and always bought it back. I think once it's in your blood. But there was the last time it happened. There was when I really seriously. I had to make a decision. I was in a very bad place with some very bad people, with drugs, and I'm not condoning drugs for 1 minute. We were. You look back at your life and you think we were just complete idiots, really. But I'd had the sense to see the fork in the road, and I think if I'd have taken the bad one, which was great because we thought we were mini little gangsters, go around the town, in and out of toilet cubicles, and a bit of fighting here and there, and the women loved us because of what we thought we were. And when you look back, you think I was just a prick. But I had the sense to step back from that and think, if I go down that road, my life isn't going to be very good. And I'd got my own house. I had a messy relationship split with a girl that I lived with. So I bought my own house then. And I was rebelling against women, basically. So you just go around.
Why do you think you were rebelling against?
I don't know. I'm not a violent person. I don't drink anymore, hardly ever drink. So I look back at my life and think, what was I doing getting messed up in drugs and being a pisshead and a bit of violence? Because that's not the sort of person. I think I did it.
Did you progressively get into that?
Yes, I didn't seek that.
Where did you find it?
You can find it anywhere in Stoke. It's a shithole. Everybody's rough.
I've only been there once.
Yeah, and you nearly got on the bus instead of the train to get back to Cheltenham, didn't you? Lol and Hardy moment, Toby.
Yeah.
I've never known Toby not say anything for about half an hour. It's because I can't stop talking.
Is that because you're listening, Tove? Your intent here.
That's exactly it. I'm
Yeah.
just nervous because Si's going away this weekend, isn't he?
And he might not come
I
back.
don't think he's going to come back.
That's a good chance.
So if you get lost, I will miss you.
Will you?
Oh.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, that's nice.
But no, we were. It was a real messy. It was an upsetting split with this girl because I thought that was my life mapped out. I was very grown up. We were living in a house, mortgage, and then that ended badly. And I just started getting down the town boozing, and you meet different people, and different people lead you into different things. I'd done recreational stuff before in the club scene because the club scene's quite big in Stoke. And house music was certain, but it was breaking in 87, 88. You got clubs like Shallys. People would come from London and all over the country to go to Shallys. It was world renowned. I'm trying to word this correctly so I don't get in trouble. But at the time, the police thought that, right, what we'll do, because Shallys was full of drugs, ecstasy was rife. It was during the time where football violence in the mid to late 80s was bad. And obviously what people discovered is when, certainly it was ecstasy was the drug that came along and changed everything. It changed society because when everybody was taking ecstasy, they didn't want to knock 7 shades of shit out of each other. They wanted to look, they wanted to love each other in a club.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that think that the revolution from ecstasy actually killed football violence, and I completely agree.
Really?
But Shallys was full,
Yeah.
to the point where you'd have people from Millwall and Chelsea and all over London that would come, from Manchester, from Liverpool. Now, if you put them in an environment where there's just alcohol, they're gonna fight. Because if it's a football environment, they're going to fight. Whereas if you've got ecstasy inside you, everybody loves each other. It's not to be condoned. It's very, very, it's a banned drug. So what the police thought in Stoke was, right, we'll knock this club down. We'll get it shut down, and we'll knock it down because that'll sort the drugs out. So they did that, and all that does is it just pushes the drugs onto the streets and onto different clubs and pubs, and then it progresses from. So I've been involved in recreational stuff before that, and it was always going to happen. Because I was going out too much.
So were you completely sidetracked with everything else, and it was just
Yeah.
that period?
I lived for drinking and taking drugs.
What were you doing work-wise at that time?
I was working at JCB.
Right.
So I was a truck driver before that, like a multi-drop truck driver. I'd done that for quite a few years, quite enjoyed it, kept me fit. But then obviously JCB are very good payers, and I got a job at JCB, and it was like pinching money. It was ridiculous. Now, then I went on to nights. Used to get 150 quid a week just for doing nights. And then you got your wages on top. It was pinching money.
That was a huge place, that factory, wasn't
Still
it?
is. Well, that's where I was fishing yesterday. I actually fished
The lake.
the lake with the statues in.
I remember, we used to go to Alton Towers
Yeah,
when
of
we were
course, yeah,
younger,
you were past it.
and we knew that we were nearly, we were getting
When you saw the
closer when
lake.
we go past the JCB factory.
Well, he came in yesterday on his helicopter, Anthony
right.
Bamford.
Yeah.
He's got a helipad right
Yeah.
next to the factory. And we were fishing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
incredible. And that's only 20 minutes from my house. So I was working there. Then I worked all nights. So you obviously got more money. So then, my week's way, I got my friend Steve Hurst. He was living with me at the time, and he was renting a room off me because I got this lovely house after the split with Charlotte. And it was a fully modernised townhouse. It was beautiful in a nice area. So, of course, everybody after the clubs, they wanted to be my friend, because they could come back to my house and do whatever they wanted. There was people coming and going at all hours of the day. However, we never got raided or addressed for it. I don't know. But Steve would pay me, let's have a £250 or £300 a month, and all that go in the weekend on, it'd either go up my nose or down my throat with booze.
If you did get raided, you would have been in so much
Oh no!
trouble.
Well, we would if after the club. We wouldn't in the week because there was no drugs there because they'd all been taken. And I'm not laughing because it's clever, because it certainly isn't. But I enjoyed that because the emotional turmoil of the split with Charlotte was so upsetting. I was going out, you're meeting women, and it was just good, and we were living for the weekend.
Did you get it out of you then by
Yes.
doing that?
And again, none of what I say is clever, but you think you're Jack the Lad, sleeping with quite a few women, because not only are the males doing that, the females are doing it as well. In every town, everybody's, it's men and women that make this happen. So I was sleeping with quite a few women on and off, and Kathy was one of them. And she always says that she always saw the good in me. And that's why she stuck around, because I was horrible to Kathy, and I was horrible to a lot of women and a lot of people. I was an arsehole. But and there was a period after that. It was when the property market boomed, probably 2006, 2007. So my house that I'd bought at X price, I had it valued, and it was worth, I think it was worth 80,000 quid more. I thought, that'll do me, get that for sale sign up. So it went on the market. At the same time, Kathy was buying a little house, little terraced house, so I moved in with her. And that was the end of my days, if you like. I'd got it out of my system. And now I look back now.
Was there a moment when you thought, right, no, this is it?
There was a bad fight. There was a club called The Void, and we used to go there on a Saturday night. Saturday night was when everybody was in a right old mess. Friday night, it was more like just a rock indie sort of night. And it all kicked off in there. And the people that were fighting, it was the Stoke fans that were fighting amongst each other. And I come out, I got a little cut above my eye. There was a few fisticuffs. But these people were guys that were the following day down the football together as a firm. You know, everybody was that charged up on cocaine that it was ridiculous. And I come out, and it was really scared me. It did scare me. And I thought, this is no way to live my life. And I went to the match the following day. We were at Reading away. Stoke went to Reading. And there was a rumour of a bit of violence with Chelsea, and nothing ever happened. It was always handbags at 10 paces, really. And I came back, and then the following day, I didn't go to the Void that night. And the following day, I thought, you know what, Steve was a fisherman. Steve is one of the guys that I met 35 years ago down at the Overflow. So when he'd moved in my house, he was fishing. So he got all his kit in the spare room, and I went, you don't mind me borrowing your kit, do you? So I started fishing down Westport, the Park Lake, and it was really hard because...
So when had you previously been fishing before then?
Oh, probably 3 to 5 years.
Was it? Yeah.
Because fishing had caused a relationship split with another girl I was living with, because I didn't really give a shit. I was just going fishing all the time.
Right.
She got bored with it. She was lovely, but she got bored with it. And she thought, I could do better than this dickhead. And she went off and got married. So then I sold my gear and got back into a bit of boozing. You know, before the main sort of. But
it was fishing. So that night, then, really, like you.
That saved me. I always look back and I think that saved. But I don't. I think you have choices in your life, don't you, where you come to a crossroads and you think, surely if I go down that route, it might be a bit more fun temporarily, but it's going to damage me in the long run.
But not everybody asks that question, do they?
No, they don't. No.
Just carry on.
And so then I don't tend to have a lot of sympathy with people that want sympathy for making the wrong decision. I know everybody's entitled to make a wrong decision. I get that. But it's how you bounce back from it, isn't it?
Yeah, and knowing that you're making destructive decisions as well, which are going to affect, have an effect on other people. Yeah. So did you say you went fishing? You went fishing that the next day? And
I didn't go the next day. The next weekend. Yeah. Well, obviously I just got my little Nokia mobile. Everybody had little Nokias, didn't they? Yeah. And so the texts start flying. They ring. Are you out? No, I'm not coming out. I'm going fishing. What? Going fishing? Are you mad? I'm going fishing. That was it. So because I was on a park lake, which was only a few miles from my house, the park lake was open all night. So then what they did is they'll turn up at 3-4 in the morning, absolutely wired off the tits, and continue to want to have a party next to you while you're you're still asleep, And it was hard at first to get away from that life that I was leading.
But wasn't it interesting to look at those guys from the outside and think, these are real dicks, aren't they? Really?
Yeah. And I still see a couple of them now. They're not like that anymore. They don't do anything like that. They've grown up, and that's what the key words are, aren't it? They grow up. But I spent quite a few months after being very remorseful about what I'd done and how I'd treated people. I didn't see much of my mum. In fact, I don't remember. I used to spend Christmas days for a couple of years just rotting on the sofa because I'd been on the piss all day Christmas Eve. So I wouldn't go or I'd turn up at my mum's in a right mood because I was hungover, eat me dinner and then go home.
You're lucky it didn't go the other way. You could have actually just gone completely depressed and
Yeah.
We know.
So I'd have lost my house because I was in debt. I'd got a loan. I was wearing lovely £500 Prada jumpers that I couldn't really afford. So I was beg, stealing and borrowing to buy them because it was all about how you looked when you went out. And I think that's only got worse in society. I think cocaine has been more socially accepted. That it's probably as easy as getting a pint of beer out of a pub now.
We were having a conversation actually today about that. You know, I mean, I grew up in the country, you know, and it's a little bit different for me. I mean, I know it's all around, but if you're living in big cities, inner city places, it's just so common, so common. But it's not going to end well, is it?
I don't think so. If you've got a addictive personality,
so do you think you've got? But obviously you've channeled yours into fishing since then. I mean, whatever you do you find?
I do it to the maximum.
Yeah.
So I haven't been to the gym for over 12 months now since I got diagnosed, because one, I got my pick line in. I didn't want to get infected, like the dressing all sweaty, and two, infection, because I've got no immune system. So when I joined Beach's gym, I couldn't just I used to do a lot of circuits, like minute on a station. I couldn't just go twice a week. I have to go twice a day.
Twice a day.
You know.
Yeah.
And so I'm very obsessive, whatever.
What were you hoping to get out of that? Is it?
Well, when I first joined, I was probably. I mean, I look back at pictures now and people say, God, you lost a lot of weight. You lost a couple of... I don't think I lost 2 I never used to weigh myself. But I was carrying a bit too much. You know when your clothes feel a bit tight, and we've been away on holiday, me and Kath. And I've posted some pictures recently on my Instagram page from Frimley. Because I was really brown, it was red. We used to go to Turkey in August. Like, what were we thinking? It's 45 degrees, man. You know, the sweat is dripping off you. So it was the first all-inclusive holiday I've been to. It was a really nice hotel called Cornelia Diamond. Everything, you know, all-inclusive. I just couldn't stop myself. She thought at one stage I was going to eat the hotel. I was eating my way through everything. Like Homer Simpson, like a Pac-Man just walking around. So I wouldn't just have breakfast. I'd then have a full English. Oh, and pancakes are nice with maple syrup and all this. And so the thing is, when you can pick your own food. I was like eating half a plateful before I'd even left the food area. You know, you just like, I'll have a nibble. So I probably consumed about 5,000 calories at breakfast.
Yeah.
And then it's ice cream time, come 10 a.m. Then it's lunch. So I come back and I ballooned. And it's when you see pictures, you think, fuck me, I've put some weight on. So then I bought a bike and we started walking. But what I found with the walking was I'm really ashamed of how I've treated Kathy over the years. Really ashamed. Because I was very selfish, even more so when I got into the fishing industry. But when we started walking together, I found a way of being able to talk about my ex-girlfriend that had caused me so much damage that it's almost, you build your barrier up, don't you, and say, I'm never going to get hurt again. So you just build a bit of macho image up that, oh, she didn't hurt me really, when really she broke my heart. You know. But because I was focused on looking where I was going when we were walking, I wasn't looking her in the eye like I was. I never used to be able to do that with Kath. I can now all the time, but I will look you in the eye whenever I come. I couldn't do that. So what walking enabled us to do, or enabled me to do, was pour my heart out and get everything out that I wanted to say. And we'd walk for miles and miles, hours and hours in a week, and she'd hardly say a word. As you've gathered, I don't struggle to talk. I can talk about anything and probably not let anybody else have a word in. I'm aware of my faults, Sam. But so she wouldn't say anything for miles. But it had to be said.
Yeah.
I had to get it out. And we still walk a lot now.
You should watch, is it Kevin Nealon, the actor? He's doing this stuff on YouTube at the moment. I might have got his surname wrong. But he lives around the Hollywood Hills and he just does these interviews with these actors. But rather than sit there and do this sort of thing, he goes for a walk with them.
Yeah.
He goes for a hike.
Yeah.
You just think that's amazing.
Yeah. I think it's because I couldn't make eye contact with her, because I was so ashamed of how I treated her at times. I'm not talking about physical. I was just being a complete cock, really. But by not having to look her in the eye, enabled me to say all the things that I would never have been able to say to her if I was looking her in the eye, because I'd either been too embarrassed or too ashamed. And so that helped me. So that's how I got into the gym and into fitness. And then it just, in the end, the gym thing was something, because it was so far away from fishing, and it's a social life thing. So I struggled to fill that void for a while, and I still struggle. I'm okay now, we're coming into the lighter nights. But even now, thinking about the thought, I had a bad January. I was getting kicked around with a few side effects with the steroids from the sleep deprivation. And just January blues, you know, it's dark, it's raining, it's cold. And I've spoke to Kath about it, because I said, I'm coming off this chemo. because my rash was bad on my face. I'm coming off it. She said, let's get January, you got your break, got your 6-week break, let's get it out of the way. And she's right. Once you see those nights creeping out and the morning's getting brighter, it changes you.
Yeah.
And it's changed me, but
sorry, when were you able to actually look Kath in the eye and be able to just talk to her normally?
I don't think I've ever discovered how much I love her until I got diagnosed. Which is really fucking sad, isn't it? After we've been together for 16 years. We don't have an anniversary because we don't know the exact date. And Kath will agree, she's out of the room at the minute, but she would agree with everything this. We love each other implicitly. Without her, I wouldn't function. And it took me till something major happened in my life to realise that. Because I got into the industry and I was working for Armaled, so I'd be away a few nights. Then I went to work for Tracker, so I'd be away for perhaps a couple of nights. I was only working 4 days a week because once I got my job, that was what was agreed. So then I'd do all my magazine work on the weekend. So then I might be away, if I'm down Kent or in Essex, I'd stay out Monday, Tuesday night, come back on Wednesday, put my fishing tackle in the van, Thursday morning, I'm gone to Linchill or Horseshoe or Linear for 3 nights. So I come back on a Sunday, we go out for a bit of Sunday dinner, then the same thing would happen again possibly where I'm out for a couple of nights. It was all about me and my pursuit.
Did it cause arguments?
Never.
Or?
Because with Kathy's very independent. She was when I met her, and she's only ever known me to fish. Or I guess she's only ever known me to be a selfish bastard, and that's changed now. But I think it's worked for us. We don't, sometimes I'll go away for a week in France. We won't ring each other. We've got no kids together. We've got no pets. So we don't need to do the normal family thing where how are the kids, as the dog shit on the carpet, as it at the postman's foot. Don't need to do all that because we haven't. So we'll text each other. And Kathy, we're very realistic about our relationship, and I've been all the time we're together that if we haven't got nothing to say, you don't need to ring each other. Just text me, let me know you're okay, and But now, it's different. I realise that she stuck by me because she loves me, and I see how she looks at me, and I know that she loves me implicitly. When she does a little thing like that, I could see her doing it. When she's sort of doing that because she thinks I'm cute because I've got headphones on. But the nurses didn't do much for me in hospital because they allowed Kathy to stay, and all the degrading stuff that I thought would bother me, she did it. She's wiping me backside because I couldn't function because they cut through my core muscles. I had 46 staples, not stitches, staples. They cut me from the top of my groin to underneath my chest bone. Without her, I wouldn't, And I remember being in they took the dressing off the wound within a day, and they said you can have a shower now. Well, obviously I'd got a catheter on my penis. That was quite a polite way of saying penis, wasn't it?
Very good.
I'd got an epidural in my back. I got a drain hole in my stomach, and I got a cannula in my wrist, and all this is on a trolley. So I had to go and have a shower, and I'm standing there naked. I couldn't get the cannula, so I got my hand above my head to keep the cannula dry. And she's washing me. I was crying, and I remember saying to her then, I said, "Don't let me suffer," because I felt like a burden. Don't let me suffer. And I guess I was saying that when my time comes, don't let me suffer. And when we got home, I look her in the eye, and I still, because I'm feeling very clingy at the moment after the news yesterday, and because I feel so helpless for her, we got back home, and she might have just been doing stupid things like sitting texting. And because we come out of hospital early July, it was nice and warm, and I'd look at her, and she didn't know I was looking at her, and I'm crying. I've got tears running down my face because I thought there's going to come a day where I'm not going to be sitting here watching you do that, And then I had a bit of counselling. God, we're getting off on a tangent.
Yeah, that's fine.
I had a bit of counselling with an ordained priest, and not with Kath, on my own, and he taught me the ways of Carpe Diem, which is seize the day. It's Latin for seize the day. He said, because you can't change what's happened in the past, and you certainly can't predict what's going to happen in the future. So I try and live each day as I can, but without her, I'm nothing. Now, we're not really emotional.
Yeah.
We're more emotional than we used to be because this brought us close. But then it doesn't fade away. You just get back to living your life. At the minute, we're clingy because we fucking need each other. because we're going through the shit again. You know, we're feeling rock bottom, and we need each other to. She calls me Bubba. I shouldn't say that because I'm supposed to be a big macho man, but she calls me Bubba, and she'll say, "We'll prop each other up, Bubs," and that's right because we'll get each other through it.
Yeah,
you know, and women they're strong. Women, she was so strong in hospital, and I think that's why I look at her now and I melt, because I regret the wasted years where I probably didn't appreciate her as much because I was either away working or I was away fishing primarily. Nothing mattered. I mean, I've got, you know, God willing, I can fulfill them, but I've got several France trips booked up to 2022. I've got 5 weeks away this year. She doesn't question that. She likes her own place. She likes her own company.
But I mean, it's terrible as this illness stuff is. You know, some people that don't necessarily have to go through the same stuff as what you do, you can actually grow apart when you get older, can't you? As well, and you can end up when you're old. You know, you're not necessarily.
You're not one unit.
Yours is kind of working the.
It's working the other way.
It's working the other way.
You've completely got that bang on.
Yeah.
Because I think Kath would admit that. She was probably. I think our relationship has only lasted because I was away quite a lot. Because she led the single life. She had boyfriends, but she was single primarily, and because she wanted to be single. She goes to the gym 6 times a week. She's got her own friends. Like, her friends very rarely come to our house because she likes being in control of when she can go and when she can come away. So she's got a few close friends that she does that with. She spends a lot of time with her family, with her mum and dad and her sister. And while she's hot-headed, she's a very loving person, and she would be more emotional. Over the years, I've always pushed her away. I remember we got diagnosed when notice how I say we when I talk about me and Kath. When I talk about things to do with cancer, it's we, because we've been through it together. You know? Yeah. When we got diagnosed, she cried, and she put her hand on my leg. I went really hot, and I was just looking as though the consultant wasn't there because this wasn't happening, obviously. She put her hand on me, and I just pushed her hand away. And then only when I come out of the room, I thought, well, you know, not even considering how she felt. But then yesterday, when we got the news that it had grown, you know, I was holding her hand, and I got up and I kissed her, because that's how much she means to me now. And I regret the years that I was probably a bastard to her. I regret that.
How did you go from this kind of, like, you know, you were into bit of violence and the drugs, you know, how did you go from that in a relatively short time to being quite a well-known angler? I mean, it didn't take very long, did it? What? It was back.
I mean, it was back in the day where I got a job. Well, I did. I was working at JCB, and there was a company called Armaled. All the lads from Korda, well, the old school boys, Danny, Damo, Ali. Ali used to have bits offers, Gareth Fair and people like that. Making leads, few lockjaw leg clips, things like that. So Tony and Jill were giving me some bits to fish with. I guess looking back, it was like a bit of a sponsorship. And in return, you send your picture off to Carp Talk. And it was back in the day where the magazines would approach you. Not like it is now. I mean, Jesus, there's hardly any magazines left now. Cartwheel's gone. And so Tony, he rung me, and he said, Tony owned a fishing tackle shop as well as Armaled. Armaled was operating at the back of the units at the fishing shop. So I went up, and him and Joe were there, and he said, we want to offer you a job as a salesman. I went, right, okay. He said, we'll make the appointments. You'll sell off the van. So they bought a brand new van, like a transit size van. It was a DU04 FWR.
Oh my God, Ian!
How would you remember things like this?
God.
And so Tony's bought this van, and in the back was just loads of leads, leaders, PVA, all the stuff that Armaled did. And I'd go around the shops selling off the van, you know. And at the time, I mean, Korda, it's not because I'm sitting at Korda, but Korda would, as they still are, they've gone on to be amazing, haven't they? But back then, they got leads, they got a few rig bits, you know, little rig board. The hooks weren't out then. This was probably 2003 time, 2000, around that time. So I suppose indirectly we were going up against Korda, and then Atomic came along. But Armaled were making they were making real hayway. I was getting in, you know, I'd started building a relationship with shops. Down everywhere all over the country. I was basically going to all the big shops. Some people wouldn't have it, You'd show them the lockjaw leg clip, and they'd be like, "Well, we're not having that as a death rig," because the swivel locked in place. Because obviously all people knew was the Korda one, where it just clicked in place.
It had to be that way.
It had to be that way. To the point where, people they wouldn't throw you out the shop. They said, "We can't have that stuff in here. It's death rigs." And then only a few years later, people started to realise that, well, that is the safest way to fish, because once the lead is off, yes, it's still trailing a bit of something, but it's not going to get snagged up as much as with the lead on. I then, Armor have advertising a lot in the magazines, and as you know, but it wasn't the same back then. It wasn't manufactured back that if Korda go to X magazine and say, right, well, we'll spend 20 grand a year on advertising, but we want Ali in every month, and then we want Tom in every other month, and blah blah blah. And the magazines that's what they would crumble to, because the magazines need the advertising money to survive. Back then, you were getting in magazines off merit. So you got the classic old, you got the big name. Derek Ritchie was huge at the time, Ronnie Buss, people like that, Martin Bowler, Ian Russell had just started on his journey, Laney, and all these boys are still around. They've got longevity, they've got experience in the industry. So I remember my first magazine feature, I'd been catching a lot of fish from Lynch Hill. I'd already caught a lot from Horseshoe and Linear. And it was
Did you have the 10-year ticket on Horseshoe?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So it was a guy named Greg Freestone. He was the avatar. He was the guy that come out and did the features from Crafty Carp, and he met me at Cuttle Mill. And that's how it started. You would get approached. I signed an exclusive with Bauer, or EMAP at the time, because it was before Bauer had bought them. So I wouldn't write for any other magazines other than Bauer Productions. So that would be Improve Your Course Fishing, Angling Times, and UK Carp, when UK Carp was a standalone magazine. And I'd go out and do one feature. I'd go out and do perhaps 3 features in a day with them, and earn sort of 600 quid. On top, and obviously then they were just coming to you, and as I was building my profile, and at the time I was really timid, and I thought, which is why I wasn't I thought, well, I wasn't.
Do you think you're a good marketeer then, as well?
No, because I was quite embarrassed. I remember saying to Tony and Jill at Armor that I don't want to write, because we've got other people. There's people like Ali, Jamie Classic, Roger Bacon, people, Gareth Fareham. Let them do the magazines. I'm nobody. I almost didn't want to start going into a magazine with people like Laney and Chilcott and Danny and Damo, as if to say, well, who's this? The word wannabe comes into mind, because at the old Korda, well, the old Korda, I don't know if I ever featured on the list, but Joe Morgan, he was a fucker, Joe was. I'm sure they had a wannabe list, like a media whore list, as you probably call it now. And strangely, because Ali was in there, Ali's name should always be at the top, because he's very good at what he does, isn't he? He loves marketing the Ali and Meady brand. And that, I mean that with all due respect. But and I always used to go in Korda, because if I was down this way, I'd pop in, and I'd sort of left Armorhead then. I'd moved on to Tracker. Tracker employed me as a rep. So I've moved on from Armorhead, and obviously I was approached by a Tracker. So I'd call in at Korda just to pick me bits up if I needed any bits. And I'm sure they used to just scrub my name off this little board. Oh, Tong's coming in. We'll rub his name off, because we don't want him to think that he's the biggest wannabe in carp fishing. But this is years ago, and this is how it went. And then I'd got the job at Tracker, because obviously I was never involved with Korda when I was at Armorhead, because they were rival companies. And then I got approached by Mainline, so I was using Mainline bait, Korda tackle. And it was just before I was using Shimano rods and reels for a couple of years before I got paid as a consultant, if you like.
But I don't know anybody that's. I mean, you seem to have had more consultancies than most. Can you think of anyone that's had more consultancies than you?
When I was at Tracker, I was really happy. Tracker, Korda, Mainline.
That's a nice lineup.
Nice lineup. So then we had a sales manager come in called Cash Farnan. All the boys from Korda will know Cash. And I think he came in and wanted to throw his weight around. We got on fine to start with. And then he started to mismanage me. Because Pete Drabble, one of the owners of Tracker, he's a very mild, placid guy, a bit like you. Doesn't like confrontation. I think he employed Cash because he knew Cash would ruffle he would be everything Pete couldn't be. So we'd have meetings like this, and Cash he's blatantly calling me out and talking to me like shit. Well, if you manage me correctly, I'll work all day for you. if you give me some respect. But if you talk to me like a piece of shit, then I'm going to give it you back. So in this, it progressed and progressed.
How do you need to be managed?
Delicately, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think the mark of a good manager is knowing how to manage his individuals, because not everybody's the same, are they? But if you fire at me, I think if I've got a reason to fire back, I will. I'm not a disrespectful person. I won't just walk around firing off at people. But it became really unbearable to the point where I couldn't work there anymore. And I had a meeting with Pete, and he said, "Look, Tong, we want you to stay, but we've employed Cash and we've got to back him." But it was really unpleasant. So Rich Wilby, a good friend of mine, he'd got a job at Nash. He was working with Winston on the media at Nash, and he said, I didn't approach him. He said, "Oh, Nashy wants to talk to you about a job." The timing couldn't have been more perfect. So I didn't tell Nashy that I was really unhappy, and I was going to leave anyway. And I spoke to Dan. Dan was trying to get me a job at Daiwa, unbeknown to me at the time. So Korda were paying me a bit of money as a consultant, so were Mainline, and I was earning my wages from Tracker. So I went for a meeting with Kev, stayed at his house, and he offered me a job. He offered me a way out from the Tracker thing, because I was going to leave anyway. So Kev offered me good money for 4 days a week, and he couldn't do enough with me. He loved me, all over me, ringing me at night, all sorts. And I was making a big impact in the north, but obviously that meant leaving Korda and Mainline. So obviously Kevin is in Essex. I'd stayed at Kev's. The first person I rung was Steve Morgan, and I said, "Can I come and see you at home?" Because I wanted to tell him face to face. The second person I rung was Fairbrass, and he was away somewhere. I think he might have, I'm not sure, but we had some heated words. He thought I was joking.
You were very close with Danny as well.
Yes, and I'll go to my grave regretting what I did. Not because I did it for me. I thought, I'm shit at making decisions, Si. Still am. Very nervous about making decisions. So the one time I made a decision for me, I upset the one person that, and I judged it at the time and thought, me and Danny were close when we were filming. We loved spending, we had a good sort of vibe going on the bank. We knew what made each other tick. We had a bit of banter but kept it serious. I was developing a skill for being in front of the camera with Dan, and it was working. But I remember saying to Kathy, I said, well, it's not like I go out drinking with him. I was almost trying to justify what I'd done. Now I know everybody can leave. I mean, me and Dan fell out on the phone. We had heated words, and I give as good as I got. And I thought at the time, well, Danny, he's an MD of a very successful company that's growing quicker than anything. He perhaps isn't being used to not being answered back. I'm not saying Danny walks around here on rose petals, but I regretted it. And I got to say me apology to him on Wellington, because I wanted to tell him face to face that it was the worst decision in my life. Not so much I regret doing it because I know it upset him, and I regret that. And I told him, but it was never the same. I could tell when we were in the wide swim on Wellington. I know exactly where it was, but I could tell that my words meant nothing. I could tell that by the way his body language. The damage had already been done when I left, because he said on the phone, he says, "You've got savings. I was trying to get you a job at Daiwa, but I wanted to take the job at Nash. It was a good offer for a company that he turned it round, Nashy, because I think, from what I believe, it was only the bait factory that kept him afloat all them years ago, because his gear from China, the standards had dropped. There was more going back in returns than what were being kept by the customers. But he turned it round. He got a lot of new gear coming through. The Titan had been reborn again, and I'd seen all this new gear in the showroom. And as a salesman, you look at a product range, you think, well, I need that to be good, or else I'm going to be flogging a dead horse. So I don't regret taking the job at Nash. The only thing with Kevin, I think Kevin tried to change me as a person, because one of my claim to fame is I was one of the only reps in the UK to get 2 brews at Johnson Ross. Now, them lads know what they like, Lewis and Anthony and the boys in there. And I used to get 2. We used to get on really well with the boys in there, certainly Lewis. So, and you think, well, if I can conquer shops like that, get on very well with the Pete's at Tacklebox, these are guys that know, they've been in the industry longer than anybody. They know what's good and what's not. So,
and that's what Kevin loved.
Yes.
It was just, he could see that.
But I'm sure he was all over me for a couple of months. I couldn't do any wrong. I got dates booked on the church, like I got this. We'd agreed a figure.
Is that normal for him?
I don't know. I think the problem at Nash was because they were growing so well, because it all stems from Alan Blair, who's an absolute genius. You know, he is instrumental on making that company what it is, or he's been there a long time. And his enthusiasm and work rate is what has made that company successful now. So consequently, all the staff that follow him or they employ, they get moulded into another Alan Blair. So they're all working 15, 18 hours a day, which is fine, you know. But if you break the hourly work rate down, they're not earning nothing because they're working so many hours. Well, I'd do my job. I was increasing sales in the north. I was doing a very good job. I was doing some filming for Kev. But then we clashed on shows because we'd agreed a figure what he would pay me extra for shows, because I was technically a named angler, you know, filming, magazines, blah blah blah. He wanted me to be at the show, so we agreed a figure. And then when I put an invoice in, he said that, you know, I never agreed to that. Well, I don't forget whether I'm pissed up, anything. I don't forget many things. So I would have known I wouldn't have agreed to work for that per day. And then I'd then gone down for a product meeting. It was when the alarms were coming out, the first Nash alarms. And Kevin's got it out, and you almost think there's going to be this drum roll like this. And he's put this thing on the bit like that. I shouldn't laugh because it was... and I went, "Doesn't look very good, does it?" So it looks like a Lynx bottle, deodorant bottle. And I swear to God, Si, I thought he was going to pick it up and fucking throw it at me. I really did. And then
deodorant bottle.
Well, I mean, you know,
you should get it. No, yeah,
it looked pathetic. It looked pathetic,
right?
But I wasn't. It might have been the most ingenious engineered product inside, but it looked shit. And I'm looking at that from a salesman's perspective when it's going up against a Dalkim, a Fox, a Steve Neville. I don't think ATTSs were about then, maybe. So you think, well, if you're going to design something, at least design something that looks aesthetically good to the eye, because then that's going to draw more interest than something that looks like something you spray under your armpits. You know, I think that's a fair comment. But if you don't want, I wouldn't say it wasn't that constructive. The fact that I said it doesn't look very good probably wasn't the right thing to open my account with. You know, so that was the end of me at Nash.
Was it?
Yeah. And straight away I knew I'd really annoyed Kev.
How did you know?
Well, I think if he could have thrown it, if he would have done. But
then, over the next few days and weeks,
the next sort of week or so, things got more and more heated on the phone about show dates and about what I said I would agree to. I'd got some dates booked on the church lake that he then took away from me, and I thought, this is childish. You know, you've employed me as the person that I am with my personality. The fact that I can get on well with all the hard shops to get on with at times in the country told me that I must have been doing something right. The shops like me as a person. Sales is about, if they like you and you've got a good product, they'll buy from you all day long. And I think that's what attracted Kevin to me. But then he seemed to want to take my personality away and my mannerisms and replace it with a Nash robot, where everything they make is fantastic. Everything that happens there is the best thing that can ever happen. Well, no, I'm going to say what I feel, rightly or wrongly, in the wrong probably tone at times. But I increased turnover in the north. I did exactly what I was employed to do. So they called me down for a meeting. I'd already written me notice. I've never said this to anybody at Nash ever. So I've gone down in the van because the salary was a good salary and a van, a vehicle, brand new. I don't remember the reg of that, by the way. Oh. Which has probably annoyed you. So I'd taken all my personal belongings out the van, knowing full well that I wasn't going to be going home in the van. I got my notice written out of my pocket. So I sat down. Kevin wasn't in the meeting. There was me, Sarah, Alan Blair, Matt Downing. I got my hand on my pocket like this. And they said, okay. And so it's obvious things had gone pretty downhill. There was no communication by this point with me and Kev. It was done. You know, he was obviously pissed off with me that he couldn't mould me into this person that he may have wanted me to be. I don't know. So they said, it's obviously not working with you and Nash, with you and Kev. You're either here for a very short time or you're here for life. And I think that's still the case. So we're going to let you go, but we're going to pay you your 3 months notice. So as they've said that, I've taken my hand ever so gently off my pocket, thinking, well, I was going anyway. I'm now going with 7,500 in 3 months' wait. So And at the same time, we then started discussing consultancies. So me and Alan says, you know, we still want you to keep you on as a consultant. I'm thinking, well, this can't work. So, but we want to pay you X amount for the terminal, tackle and bait. And that's what we did. And then me and Kev got on okay.
So you talk now?
I haven't spoken to Kev for a long time.
Right.
Because we don't cross in the same circles.
Be nice to get back in touch with him, maybe?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Because then I can now say, well, at least your alarms don't look shit anymore, Kev. You know, I could say that to him.
Changed a little bit.
Changed me a little bit. But going back to the next move, I was quite happy at Nash. Shimano were then paying me to use rods, reels, luggage, Nash terminal bait. Everything worked. Caught loads of fish on the bait. Brilliant.
That's a good deal, isn't it? Shimano as well. I mean, what was their criteria for having you become their consultant? What was it? They knew you were a good salesman?
I think at the time, Ali had left because I think there was the Daiwa link coming on board with Korda. Gaz Fairham had left, people like that. So they needed to have an influx of people. I guess I'd been very, very proactive on TV with Danny and with magazines. It was a natural progression, I guess, and it's not me being big-headed. If Shimano went, I was having gear off Shimano anyway. I didn't want any money because I was earning my money from Tracker. So I was quite happy to have gear. But then when the Nash job, I then needed to earn money, which is when I went into tuitions. And obviously Nash were paying me X amount of money and Shimano were paying me X amount of money for the rods and reels. And the only reason I left Nash was because I think 2.5 years later, Shimano or Rapala bought Dynamite and Ace. There was a partnership there where they bought Ace off Cottis and Tasker. And there was a partnership with distribution for Dynamite. So, as it was called then, it was called Shimano Normark. I was quite happy at Nash, but then they superseded me money by quite some. They said, "Would this be okay?" I went, "Yeah, that would be more than amicable. That would be more than enough." So then I went to Alan face to face, saw him at a show at Cudmore, and he said, "Mate, if that's what's good for you, I'm happy, because it's money." And some people bang on about money and loyalty. Well, loyalty doesn't pay your bills, does it, sometimes? So I've been with a few companies, but I've always had my hand forced, if that makes sense. Same at Shimano.
But it's worked pretty well for you, hasn't it? You've either had one main donor that's paying you your wages, but there's always been other opportunities around as well. And,
well, if you're proactive, if you've got a good reputation in the industry, I'm sure that everybody likes me. I'm sure that.
But that does go some way to saying something about you.
Well, I've got
doesn't
longevity, don't I?
Yeah.
I've been in the industry, if you like, if you want to call it the industry. It's a bit of a cheesy word, but I've been in it for a very long time. I've caught some nice fish along the way. I've made a lot of friends. I've had the ability to communicate with people who have got far more than me, materialistically wise, or they're sitting in the gutter with nothing.
Yeah.
If you give people respect, you'll get it back. You know, if you don't talk to somebody like shit, you're not going to get spoken to like shit back.
Well, it must be, because you can think of people, can't you, that maybe have upset people so much that they've just got, they got nowhere else to go.
Nowhere else to go. You can't go around, certainly in this day and age, you can't go around having opinions on what fish counts and what doesn't, what bait's good and what bait's shit, what tackle company are marketing gurus and are not, There was, everybody used to say, Korda. Danny used to say to me, I even remember what swim we were in. I even remember what I was wearing when he said to me, "Why do you use all Korda?" I went, "Because it fucking works. Because I don't need to use anything else." He said, "A lot of the other consultants they'll use this, they'll use a bit of that." And I said, "Look, Dan, if it didn't work, I wouldn't use it." And we were in Coes Point on Gigantica filming, and I think I had 38 fish or something. Danny followed me in, didn't catch as many, but I knew he caught the giant at 70, I think. And I knew he'd catch a big one.
Yeah.
He never thanked me because he obviously just walked his lines out straight out to my spot, which anybody would do. I was fishing about 110 yards and just bombing the area with 20 mil sal. I didn't find it was hard. The hardest thing was getting throwing sticks off the anglers. Penny was there. I don't know if Ali was there.
Could you use a boat then?
Well, we didn't. We were filming. But even Dan wouldn't let. And I didn't want to achieve that. I wouldn't have achieved the same spread with the boat, because every time I go out in a boat, I put too much bait in. Because you can, because it's easy, because you're just chucking it over the edge. Whereas with a throwing stick, you're scattering it. You're achieving what you want to achieve, aren't you, by getting the fish to pick one up and move. If you put 5 kilo boilies on one spot, I don't think that doesn't work for me. And so that was that I used to use the stuff because it worked, not because he was paying me to say that. Because if it was going to compromise me fishing, I wouldn't have used it. And I'm still like that now. I'm involved with obviously DNA.
What happened with Shimano?
I'd rather not talk about it
Okay.
because it's very personal.
Right. Okay.
To do with my mum.
Oh right. Okay. No. Fine. Yeah.
And I don't want to be bitter.
No.
Because I'm still very bitter about how they treated me, so I'd rather not go down that route. It's wasted energy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
So where did you go after Shimano then?
It was weird because they got leverage because they were paying me a lot of money, but in the end, because they bought my mum into it, money it was immaterial.
Okay.
And Sammy, the girl, that she's not there anymore. She rung me with a couple of weeks of me notice to go. And wanted a meeting. I said, "Yes, you could offer me £100,000 a year. I wouldn't stay because of how and what you've done by bringing my family into it." I was so close to my mum. I really was. I'm not as close to her now, and that upsets me because I have to put myself first a bit more now with what I'm going through. But my mum was really poorly with arthritis, and I was earning good money. I actually now earn more money than when I was at Shimano, and I'm 1,000,000% happier. Obviously not with what's going on inside, but working with people that care for you, that respect you, that don't treat you like a dickhead,
Yeah.
Especially the people at DNA, they're lovely. They're just nice people.
You've got a good rapport there, haven't you?
Yeah.
It looks good on film as well.
Well, I can handle myself. I don't get fazed by cameras. Excuse me. Because if you're just honest and talk about, well, this is how I do it. I'm not saying this is the only way to catch carp. And the thing is, you could have Danny sitting there, Damien, me, Ali, Tom, Daryl. Everything we say is the truth, but we've all got our own slant on it. So I wouldn't sit here and go to Danny, well, I don't do it your way, so your way is flawed. Because we all catch consistently. We catch big fish, or whatever we put our hand to, it works. Even last week, there was a couple of lads, I'd had the 36 at Blackthorn, so I put a new rig on, and I'm about to cast it out with my little bag of pellets on, and they said, "Oh, there's no barbel in here," because it was really long. And it's obviously rattled off in the morning with 40 pounders, so I don't need to be a barbel, does it, when 40 pounders come along? But Danny used to comment on my rigs, because Danny's quite a fan of short rigs. I think Damo was as well. And obviously on Wellington, it was all boilies, still is, I would imagine. And Danny used to say, "I can make 2 or 3 rigs out of one of yours." Well, but that doesn't mean that what you're doing is wrong, Dan. What we all do is right, because we all catch a fair share. You only start worrying when you stop catching.
What do you think it is at the end of the day with that? Because it's true, isn't it? You could have a handful of very, very good anglers on the lake, and they're all being successful. But you're not going to see the same rigs or same tactics with everybody, are you? It's
I think
completely different.
What the time served anglers, and that's not just me, because people like Laney and Chile have been at it a lot longer than me. But what the thing they have in common is they don't change for the sake of it. They stick to a couple of rigs that'll they've done well for 20 years, and they'll still be doing them well in another 20 years. And I think that's having total faith in what you do. I don't know a lot about bait, very little. But I've been I was at Mainline. I used Nash, Dynamite, and DNA, and I've caught just as many carp on every single one.
That faith goes a long way, doesn't it?
Well, it's something you don't have to worry about. There's definitely opinions on different quality of bait companies. You'll speak to somebody in Essex. There's always bait wars, isn't there, where the Mainline boys are digging Nash out and the Nash are digging out Mainline, but they all catch carp. But there's undoubtedly better bait companies that spend more on ingredients than others. The thing with DNA is that no one ever slags them off. You never hear anybody slagging DNA off, because they know the quality of the bait is good. So it's something I don't have to worry about.
If you notice that quality does equate to better results at the end of the day,
there's the thing, the Sal. The Sal has surely got to be the most popular selling boilie ever, surely. But I look at it, it's obviously a good boilie because it continues to catch carp. But is that because it's pushed so much and so much of it goes into a lake that the fish just think it's a natural food source? Is that what it is? Because Mainline are a very big bait company, is that the reason? So the only way to gauge that is if you went to all the people that are putting sell in the little Grange or wherever it might be locally. If you go, right, well, don't put that, put this Nash bait in or put this whatever in. You're only going to gauge your results if you do something similar for a couple of years, aren't you? So
It's very difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's an unfathomable equation, isn't it? It's a bit like you're never going to be able to speak to a carp. These are all things that we think that happen. But
it's
in
easy
reality,
to see with completely different baits versus different baits, isn't it? You know, I mean, if you were comparing, you know, maggots or, you know, to a boilie or, you know,
there's undoubtedly
sweet corn or
things that they like to eat more than others. There's undoubtedly total shit bait that's on the market that I wouldn't feed to a dog. But there's also now a lot of good bait on the market. And what I think has happened as carp fish has become so popular, all the manufacturers, whether it's tackle or bait, they've had to up the game because there's so much good gear and good bait out there now that if you do something that is substandard, it ain't going to sell. Because if you bring a range of terminal tackle out, there isn't. You've got to market things. You know, we all appreciate that Korda are so successful and so good at what they do, but it's not. Like I've always said that. I think when I left Korda, people were almost expecting me to slag them off. Now, whilst me and Danny had words, I'll never slag Danny off. I've never slagged him off as a person because I think he's an impeccable human being that puts a lot back into carp fishing. But you can't slag the range of tackle off either because you could quite happily buy Korda for the rest of your life, and it does a job. And I'm not paid to say that. You know, I'm paid by PB Products. They sponsor me for terminal tackle, but all the PB stuff is very good. There's lots of gear that is as good as Korda's, but it's not marketed as well. You know, they walk in a shop and it's there and it's in your face. It's professional. All the racks are full. I know lots of people that own shops and they say the most profitable part of our shop is the Korda wall, or the Korda Guru wall as it's now known, because people just come in and they buy it. When I worked for Tracker, one of my shops was Stapley Water Gardens up in Crewe. So because the staff weren't particularly good, they would allow me to go in every couple of weeks, take the order, then I'd go back in a week later and put the order out on the shelves so it gets sold. So it was just as the first free DVDs were coming out that Danny did. So people might have been in the shop 2 or 3 days before. They've bought whatever they've bought from all the manufacturers. They literally watch that free DVD, come back in the shop with their receipt and change all of that gear they've bought a few days before for exactly what's on that. And I mean to the text. So if it was a Tracker bag or it was Dalkim's or it was Dye, whatever it was and that's the power of marketing.
Yeah.
So yes, Korda make a lot of money, as do other companies, Fox, Nash. But if they put a lot of money into it and the quality that they do it, you know, I mean, my boss at PB was quite happy for me to come here. And he would be quite respectful that you sit here and nobody does it as well as Korda for their field because everything they do is professional. Like this building, it's. I just don't associate Korda because I remember him in the chicken sheds in Romford. You know, that's how I remember Korda. And you come to something like this and you're like, shit, this is proper. But they employ 110 people.
We had visitors here a few weeks ago, and I'm not sure how surprised they were because now it's just it's a gimme that the company is as big as it is, and you kind of expect that. But it's it's quite easy to forget, you know, those sort of beginnings and what it actually takes to be able to. We've just set up an Instagram channel, Ted, haven't we?
Yeah, we have got
actually, we want more followers actually. So yeah, please follow while we're on that. But
Just
I mean,
hold
it's really hard to just build something like that up, isn't it? As well,
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a long time. You know, it's a lot of good marketing and a lot of work and effort, and you know, into that.
I mean, some people say to me that, oh well, anybody could, like Ali. Me and Ali, we had words when I left Korda, but I don't not respect him for how good he is at his job. People say, oh, well, anybody could do Ali's job because Korda have got a bottomless pit to market, so Korda don't just throw money at any old shit. It's planned. It's, you know, these monster carp shoots. You can't just rock around the world without planning everything meticulously. And I'm sure there's mistakes and things go wrong, which is life. But it's not just a case of having as much money. It's about channeling it in the right direction. And you can see Danny's passion. You can see that. And he has got thick skin, but of course it bothers him. Of course it bothers, because it would bother you if people were digging you out or Tobe or me, it bothers you. You do end up building a tolerance to it. And Danny probably more so than anybody, because he's not got a presence on social media. He's never really had a presence on a forum. So these people that are firing sort of shit at him and trolling him, they don't know the real guy. You know, he's a good guy to be around. He's fun to be around. He's passionate. He can be a diva when things aren't going wrong. But the thinking tackles that we used to do, however long ago, I'm sure Danny, I'm sure he will correct me, but I'm sure he would hire the crew and the director. So they turn up with the cameras, with everything, all the booms, all the technical shit. Even if at the linear one we did, they were staying at the Four Pillars, and so Danny will get an invoice when that show was given to him, like that. And I'm sure he said at the time it was 20 grand a show. Well, that was 15 years ago, 16 years ago, when 20 grand to spend on something that, I mean, now I know there's product placement, but it had to be subtle because it was for Sky. Sky weren't paying Danny a penny. You know, Ali's obviously opened the door there for Korda at Sky. So Danny's got to be careful, because if it's not subtle, they'll just pull it. They won't let it go. So you could say wide gape, but you couldn't say Korda wide gape. You could say leg clip, but you just couldn't say the word Korda. It couldn't be too blatant. And I remember when I used to go on on Sky, Keith Office, Tight Lines.
Yeah.
So I'd go into the studio with Keith, or I'd be on, and I used to try and like sleep. He'd have the table like this, wouldn't he? So I'd just try and stick things over, and I'd turn the packaging over so you could see it was either whatever it was, Korda. It's like tong. It just turns it all over like that. He says, "You know the drill. It won't go out." And so Danny had to be very tactful and mindful of that when he was filming the Thinking Tackles.
Yeah.
Because you could be out on shoot for 4 days, get it all in the can and think, yeah, that's wicked, it's all done. And then you send it to Sky, so can't have that. You know, you used to notice Danny's logos, other people's logos were covered up with tape. I think that still happens.
Yeah.
Because you can't blatantly advertise. And obviously now Korda branched out into mainstream, ITV4 and 2,
even more, yeah.
It's even stricter.
Yeah, definitely.
But so it's easy for people to sit at home and slag companies off that they think are flooding the market or overtaking the world, or, you know, oh, Danny wants world domination. I've even heard people say that, oh, well, he is going to fund fencing, isn't it? Because those people on that lake will go and buy his tackle. So if you're on a 50-man, do you really think that's going to make a difference to Fairbrass's wealth, 50 people? And I'm not being flippant when I say this, but, and Danny will probably agree with that. If they want to buy Korda, they go out and buy it because they think it's the right product. Danny doesn't do this embryo thing to, you know, as I think he spent a hell of a lot of money that did you tell me that he'll never see that in his lifetime?
No, I mean,
don't say the figure.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the figure is. I wouldn't be talking on the podcast like that. But no, I mean, it's a labour of love. Embryo is a labour of love for him. It's just something that he's in the privileged position where he can, through his own hard work, where he can do something and give something back. And I just think a lot of people, or some people, not a lot of people necessarily, just don't get that. They don't get why would he, on the one hand, he wants to take money out, you know, he wants to take as much as he can from us, but why would he want to give us something for free?
Back.
You know, it's just, people find that quite hard.
Well, I guess it could be a male, because it's a male-dominated sport, and it still is.
But I think it just goes to show you can do.
Never please everybody.
You can just do one thing which is just purely for your love of it. This is a business as well, so obviously
it's got to make money.
You know, so it's got to make money. But people don't understand as well that his intentions there as well. It's he's safeguarding the future and giving us a future in carp
But then
fishing.
he'll put something out like a podcast or some stuff he's done on sipography. So we'll do an interview where Danny basically, he's very honest and he speaks very honestly like this. And people love him for it, you know.
I've noticed on here, actually, when he's done this stuff, that it's all been pretty positive with Danny. You know,
because they don't see that side too. These people just see this guy in the glasses that they think is rocking around like Elton John in private jets, when nothing could be further from the truth.
I think this sort of stuff's really, really good as well, because it's so open. We're not time restricted, or, you know, people can say what they want to say. And
they see people as a human being instead of just this figure, whether it's Danny or Ali or whoever it may be, Daryl, any named angle that does stuff on the TV. People always form opinions because they'll think even the way he speaks or the way he walks or the way he dresses, they'll always form an opinion, some good, some bad. But when they meet these people, they don't say nothing.
No, of
it's
course
easy
not.
to sit behind a computer and slag them off or have an opinion on something that they don't know nothing about. Which is, I was quite glad that Danny got animated with the masterclass one about the Rob Burgess thing.
You can
and
see how passionate he is.
Yeah, you can see that. And that's,
and
I think that's good.
Yep. And when I said to you as well, when I pulled Danny up on this this marketing versus fishing, thing on masterclass as well, it was like how dare, he was so passionate about that as well. Very, very passionate man. Everything he does is 150%.
And I found when I used to spend, I think that's why I regretted my decision, what I did. I mean, who knows where I would be now? You can't take that time back, can you? But he was never flash. He didn't drive a Ferrari like some people think he does. I remember the first time I fished Gigantica, the swims weren't even built. It was still an absolute shithole when he bought it. There was all tyres at the bottom of the swim, and I'd had to buy a couple on the final morning. There's no flotation slings then. It was all carp sacks, £30, I think it was. Lovely dart fish. I put it in the sack. Me being me, there was no way I was putting that sack back in my van because I was about to drive home. So I wasn't going to have a stinky sack in the van. So I said to Danny Turtle was the bailiff at the time. So of course there was carnage, and I said I'll just throw the sack away. I thought Fairbairn was getting a heart attack. Honestly, I'll just say he was probably a millionaire back then. This was probably like 14 years ago, whatever it was. He said, "I'll keep that." He said, "I'll have that." And you're looking at him thinking, but it's not the point, is it? It's about not wasting stuff.
Yeah.
And it's about having a bit of respect and not loading it up.
Yeah, no, I think some people would be very, very surprised to see how very normal Danny and other people are. It's. I don't know. I think Danny should do more stuff where he isn't. When I say playing up for the camera, when he isn't being Fairbrass, I think he should do more stuff where you get to see the real him. Because I really enjoy it. I like podcasts. I've not watched any of these. I've listened to them all. I've listened to several of these several times over because you don't hear Damo do much stuff. Tom is funny. The German Wolfgang thing, I was pissing.
We love Wolfgang.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I was pissing my pants. Daryl, because he's so to the point. And I fished with Daryl at the Essex Manor. One of my biggest compliments, he said to Richie Lofthouse, he said tong's dangerous.
Oh.
Because once I'd sussed it, I became dangerous.
Wow.
I completely messed it up for the first couple of sessions. And then when it was the birth of the chod rig, and that revolutionised me fishing. But I watched Daryl cast and cast and cast. I think, you fuck that swim. 10 minutes later, he's got 40
pounds. He gets a bite, yeah.
He's looking, and I've just finished reading his book. I've been doing quite a lot of reading lately. And he's undoubtable talent of spot finding, and really not giving a shit how people fish. As look at the Carp art lake, they're all taking a bait boat out with half a tiger nut and 2 kernels of hemp, and he goes and bombs it with 20 mils and rips the place apart, doing it his own way. And I like that. I like that about Daryl. But yeah, he said to Rich, he said tong's dangerous. That's a compliment. That is.
He's his own man, Daryl, isn't he?
He's obviously very. I wouldn't like to manage Daryl. When you said, "How do you manage me?" and I said carefully or whatever it was, delicately. I wouldn't like to manage Daryl because I reckon he'd blow. When he blows, I reckon there ain't nobody that can control him.
We were watching him on the podcast here, weren't we?
Yeah.
How Daryl was when we see the 3 of him in there, and he was just like, well, he's looking at this. He's like looking all over there. Is he?
You got to tell
and
everyone.
when you're talking to him, is he really? Is he interested or is he? Yeah.
If anybody's not seen
he
it, they've got to go back and just watch how his eyes trail around the room.
I know.
It's just in his own little world. It's
You
brilliant.
almost think that you think.
I think he's bothered.
Any minute he's going to unleash a load of abuse or something's going to come out of that mouth that's really either going to cost you your job or it's going to be revolutionary, and you're going to say some gold. He's just going to go down as gold.
Yeah.
But I like him. I like his. I fished with Damo at Mercer's. We did one session together. I think I caught one. I don't think he caught. But we just went as a bit of a social. And I liked it. His company was good. Was Damo ever? Was he able to sort of comment on your setup and tell you need to get those rods straight? Or I can't imagine. Well, not with me.
No.
If he had, I'd have probably punched him in the face.
I was going to say.
If anybody did,
normally the Damo treatment is you end up with a brand new setup which looks all nice and straight because I just can't have him keep coming into my swim and it makes you have OCD after a while.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit of a self-respect thing. If you don't have level rods, You ain't catching shit, are you? You know, let's be honest about it.
I did buy a spirit level. You know,
I'm
one of
not,
those little jag
but
things.
it's got to look right.
Yeah.
It's really, and
But
I
he
think
couldn't do that with you.
no, he was on a loser, wasn't he? There was no way he's going to win points on cleanliness or setup. I don't think I don't sit behind shit setups. If it's I can't settle.
Yeah.
It has to be level.
Yeah.
But that's a pure, like things I do at home are like that. So she has a real
How
issue.
do you manage with that, Kath? That must be hard work.
What did you say about what you do at home?
Well, Simon's asking how I'm to live with. Be careful what you say.
Well, at least the house is always spotlessly clean, I suppose.
But I'm a bit of a closet OCD at times, which Kath will agree with, because the microwave has to be clean. Kath is real obsessed with the bathroom. I'm not as obsessed with the kitchen, but I handle the kitchen a bit. So the microwave has to be spotless outside, but it can be like a grenade's gone off inside. You can't see it. And that's more or less what it's like. Kath. The oven's like that. We had a new bathroom last year, year before. So we got a nice shower. It's all glass shower. She's obsessed with that. She just buys so much shower cleaner. So she'll barge in the bathroom and find the shower. There's just steam everywhere. And she hates the fact that I draw pictures of big dicks all over in the steam. See, I've just done that with my hand. So that's a little ball, and there's... and she hates that. And then I'll go downstairs, I'll hear... She's cleaning the shower. We have a good relationship. I love hoovering up. Hoovering is my favourite thing.
Really?
I love hoovering up.
Wow.
I absolutely love it. And what I used to do, I'm not so bad now. So I would go fishing for a few days. The kitchen is spotless. So when I come in, if there's anything on that floor, I know it's her. To which there would be, because nobody cleans up like me. Because she has finally realised that I am good at everything. I mean, Kath.
No comment, Kath.
No comment. And we joke that,
Would you like to rein it in a little bit?
Yeah, because it does. I would like to be a bit more Stigger the Dump like.
Yeah.
But I'll be more Kath. That could be a saying. Let's be more Kath.
Be more Kath.
Bit more calf. That'll stick now, I reckon.
Because I know when I go fishing, she hasn't done no dishes, done nothing, and I know she does them on the very last minute. She does. She knows it. I know it's the truth. And I know she's desperately trying to wipe everything off the worktops, but I know where she'll leave things. I know there'll be crumbs under the microwave corner.
Do you ever think, God, poor woman, I've really made this tough.
I'm glad she was out of the room when I've been pouring my heart out about it, to be honest.
You should have heard that. You can watch this later.
But I'll never change. My mum's like it. My mum was a cleaner for all her life.
Yeah, you said that.
And that's where you grow up like your parents, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, Kathy won't mind me saying this, but her mum and dad aren't. They're very clean people, but her mum doesn't give a shit about housework. She'd rather go out and play table tennis or live a life. And that's where Kath gets it from. Because you grow up like your parents. She gets a temper from her dad. She's becoming an alcoholic.
Oh, is she?
It is like living with George Best. And I do, but we do have a laugh. It works, and I'll joke. So I like to do the washing, and I like to, if you're the same peg out, I like to peg it. So when you put your washing on your radiators.
Oh, right.
It's got to be level. It's got to be. She does it. It's just like it's been thrown on. Well, it won't dry properly. Well, it will, but it just doesn't look right. So she'll come walking down the stairs with the bed in, and I'm sort of looking at her like that, going, "Do you need me to help you with that, with the washer? There's a dial. You pour the fabric conditioner on the top." Almost saying that, well, you never do it. And the Hoover. So, that's what you do that all with your arm. So then she'll go, well, you fucking do that with the iron, because you don't do that either. So she gives as good as she gets. But she doesn't. You don't have to iron my clothes, do you? Because if you dry them appropriately on the radiator, like a polo shirt, you can get away without ironing it. T-shirts.
You can. I done a trailer yesterday for this podcast, actually. Did you see the T-shirt, Tobe?
No, I haven't seen it. No.
Oh, you haven't seen it? No, I mean, I should have done that, actually, with my T-shirt yesterday.
Well, you're kind of a bit of timber at the minute, so you could probably just put the T-shirt on and that would be ironed, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
I've only jumped on this because it looks like everybody takes the piss out of you at Korda, so I thought I'd just join in. It's shallow.
He's nailed it in one.
It's a shallow dig, this is, Tobe.
Yeah, I know. This could get a lot worse. Thankfully, they didn't employ you full time here. I think I would have had a heart.
Well, do you know, I had an interview.
Recently.
I had an interview with for a job at Korda. When I was at Tracker, before I took the Nash job, before things had gone sour with Farnan at Tracker, me and Danny and Damo met at a service station in Cambridge.
Oh yeah.
Not for anything that. Listen, I'm not the one that lives with Jace Umney. I'm not the one that shares a house with Jace. Oh, sorry, that lady from Fulham.
This is
You're onto a loser,
fictitious.
Si.
I
You're onto a loser.
am.
Toby edits, so you know he'll leave it in.
It's
Going to stay in. It's going to stay.
Every last minute.
But I had an interview for
Poor
them,
old Jason as well.
for a sales rep job in the north. Garth got it in the end, and I actually, because I was too honest, I taught myself out the job, because I was working 4 days for Tracker, doing my magazine stuff at the weekends. It was more about quality of life, and I said that to Danny and Damo. And when you walk up, I thought, this interview, I've got this in the bag. I've told him, I've said all the right things, but I hadn't. I'd said all the wrong things, because I said, I'm not money driven. I'm driven about quality of life. So not working my balls off for 5 days a week. What Danny wanted me to say was, I'm driven by money. I want to be in them shops at 5 o'clock. Danny knows that no rep of his is in a shop at 5 o'clock, because the shops don't want you there at 5 o'clock. But and so I think I rung Dan a few days ago, or Damo, after, feeling really cocksure, thinking this is, you want to see yourself with like Danny's glasses on and stuff like that. And they said, no, you haven't got the job. And Danny said, I'm really gutted, I'm really gutted that you were too honest. And you think, well, everything happens for a reason. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
because that meant I think Garth got the job in the end. Garth Ethelston, who now works for Sticky.
Right.
Sticky
Yeah.
Anglers, I think. Garth does. So I did have my chance working for Korda, but
let's get onto your fishing.
Yeah.
You fish quite a few. You fish some good venues, like circuit type waters, and have you got venues that sort of stick out as
Wellington, I've always, it was weird coming from Stoke. You got the Shropshire Meres, where they're all full of bloodworm, no gravel. They're all sort of flooded valleys, if you like, or flooded areas. So you come to a gravel pit, and that first time you find a gravel spot, you think, oh my God, what's this?
Exciting.
So I'd done my time. I'd kind of earned my stripes, if you like. I was this budding wannabe on the Korda chart in the office. So I'd done my time at Lynch Hill, at Horseshoe, and at Lydia. Got into Wellington, and that was just, I still miss it to this day, but you never.
What year was that?
2005 to 2007. I fished there.
So just pre-underwater.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think.
How did you find out about Wellington Park?
Through Steve Renyard.
Sorry. Right.
I need to concentrate, Silas.
No, that's fine. Yeah. Steady. Yeah. Actually, while you're there, I'll take some water as well. Can you just sign that embryo calendar, which we were supposed to auction off at the show last weekend?
But you were waiting for me to sign it.
Yeah.
I say yes, please.
Yes, please. We've signed it now, Tope.
Yeah, our names are on there.
Yeah, that's devalued it.
I'm sure everybody'd be thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Toby Clark, is that Damien's son?
That's Toby Clark.
So that was 2005 to 7.
Steve Renyard.
Steve Renyard put me on, and I loved it. It was just incredible back then. It was really incredible. Just the place, the syndicate. Nobody was really. There was no egos. There was no nothing, because everybody always caught them. There was probably about a dozen 40-pounders, but that was masses of 40-pounders back then. This is 15 years ago. I only dropped because they were upping their syndicate numbers to 75, putting the money up slightly, which that wasn't the main issue, and Jim Shelley had been offered a ticket. It was the 75. One, I knew Shelley would absolutely, I'd either end up killing him or someone else would. So I knew he would cause disruption, so I kind of backed off because of that. And I knew the lake wouldn't take 75 anglers, and sure enough, 2 years later, it's back down to 50.
Right.
So I did 2 years.
How many swims are there on Welly?
Well, say you got 5 to 6 anglers in that main body of water. It's 35 acres, a few bays. If you got 6 anglers in that main body of water, you weren't getting in that body of water. So you had loads of water, but also it could get stitched up pretty easily.
Yeah.
And at certain times of year, if you get forced into a bay, you ain't catching nothing. You always got a chance, I get that. But so I was very much a bait and wait guy. Usually activate, find some spots, and I was very meticulous with the marker. There was not, I was using. I had to be bang on my spots. And of
What were
course,
you looking for with a marker?
well, there was bits of gravel, but mainly silt, primarily
Yeah.
silt. And I prefer to fish in the silt, to be
Mm.
honest. Bit better rig concealment, exactly. But there's blatant spots amongst heavy Canadian. It was proper pit fishing, really. And then, obviously, out from there, I caught loads of fish. Caught my first 40-pounder from there. I had a 39.15 common.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which Mike Wilmot weighed.
Yeah, I heard that story.
I was shaking so much that my head had fallen off.
Did it bother you that much?
Not in the slightest.
No.
Not in the slightest. I was more nervous that Mike Wilmot was in my swim.
Were you?
Because he's such an iconic guy.
Right.
He's such a lovely guy. But that led me on to have a target to go somewhere else. So once I decided I wasn't rejoining Welly, bear in mind Welly's 185 miles from my house. This is how driven I was and selfish, that I didn't think nothing of driving 3.5-4 hours to go fishing. But with my job at Tracker, I would always make sure I was within half an hour of Welly. Wherever I was fishing.
On Welly, I mean, was it the fishing, or just some of these lakes have just got a really special atmosphere?
It was that. It was everything.
Yeah.
You were fishing at the time, probably a lake with exception from the non-publicity water in the valley. It doesn't matter to me, like the Cons and Fisheries and Harrow, places like that, Save, that were really hush-hush but got big fish. Welly had probably got the biggest concentration of big fish, 40-pounders. But it was the atmosphere, because it was a public lake. It's not like a park lake.
Was the fishing hard on there?
I didn't think so. I didn't think so at all. I'm not saying it was easy. There's not at the time though. Welly was getting slagged off. It's quite ironic that a lot of people used to slag it off, now fish it, and have done for some years. Some of the old Keep It Real brigade. Oh well, they don't count from Welly. It's easy. I had that at Linear.
But they're really old carp in there, actually. Aren't they?
Yeah, they're lovely. They're not the prettiest to fish, but they've got character. They're lovely. But it was the whole package.
What was it like being on a country park as well?
Well, it was good because it wasn't a chavvy park lake. There's a campsite on.
That's a lovely place.
It's lovely. So it was almost like two lakes, two different sorts of atmospheres, if you like, because they'd lock the gates at 6 o'clock, and then the people that were still on site on the campsite could still walk around. But it was dead, really quiet. So it'd go from being quite busy on a weekend with people walking around with their families to peace and quiet. It was lovely. There was nothing I hated about it.
Would you fish it again now?
Well, I did go back because once I'd been on the Essex Manor and discovered the chod rig, I wanted to do it differently. So I'd done the bait and weight thing where I'd fish certain swims like Hole in the Bush or the Grassy or Lorry. All the open water swims was my forte. 100, 120 yards, I could hit that. Boilies, that was me, bait and weight. And I always caught. Well, not always, but I didn't find it difficult fishing. So I had nothing to prove to myself about going back and doing that same thing again. Because I was fishing, I was really mobile now. I didn't take half the kit I used to. I wanted to fish all the swims I never fished in my way. And that's what I did. I could have gone in Hole in the Bush loads of times, but, and at the time, there's only 2 50-pounders in Welly. And I managed to I caught the turtle on my last. I was swerving it slightly because I didn't sign in.
That was always the carp in there, wasn't it?
It was the one, yeah.
The turtle.
And you look back at the fight, and I didn't even think I got it on. Because I don't think I'm ever going to catch the biggest fish in the lake. Right. Because I don't think I'm that lucky. I don't mind that. I don't mind working my way through the stock if the ending's as happy as at Welly. But Welly, you couldn't have. If I'd have stuck to the rules, I wouldn't have caught the turtle. I should have been off. But because I didn't sign in until after 12 o'clock, that's how I did it. Some of the lads knew what I'd done, but they didn't give a shit. I was going anyway. I thought, I can't get banned.
So you gave yourself a couple of extra hours fishing?
I gave myself another 24 hours fishing.
Oh, did you?
And if I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have caught the turtle. I was convinced I was going to catch the other one. I think the other one was called... What was the other fish? The other 50-pounder? Can't remember the name of it. I was convinced I was going to catch that as well. Yeah. I was so in tune with that lake. I was getting really turned over on chods. I remember talking to Dan, actually. A lot of people using stiff hinge rigs. I didn't want to be... So I was carrying on using naked chods. Dead slat lines. It worked for me on the Essex Manor. I think I'd been...
What were you using previously on your first...
leg clips.
Just normal...
Long coated up links. Yeah. Size 4 wide gape. Bit of silicon tubing on as a blowback. simple.
And you never felt any reason to change that while you were...
Well, no, because you were fishing spots. So because I was so meticulous, I might even go in the same swim as I'd been the week before. So this was before wrapping sticks, you know. And I'd still have to put I used to carry 2 markers. I'd have to put them back on that spot. And it was one of them where you'd leave the float up when you're casting to get it bang on. And you think, well, you know, you look back how it's gone forward where people aren't so obsessed with getting it on that 6. You know, it's just how things go on. But it was all bottom baits. I'd do double 18 mil activate straight out of the bag. You know, I'd think nothing of throwing stick 10 kilo out on 3 spots. But you're not tramming up on
3 different spots.
You're not tram lining on
Aren't you?
Well, I didn't. Renyard said to me, the first thing, and Renyard was very successful on that, he said, don't come here with your Oxford bullshit. That's what he said to me.
Why is that?
Because he said people have done it and it doesn't work. So 3 rods on a spot, corn, pellet, you know, the Elstow style. He said, don't come here with them tactics, you'll struggle.
Well, it goes back to what you were talking about earlier in the podcast, you know, where you ended up moving your rods around, you know, to get bites.
Yeah.
Do you think that's from the experience of maybe fishing somewhere like Welly and
it may be, yeah.
Before?
I think it's just, I mean, if I could bottle watercraft up, I'd probably have more money than Dan. But you can't, can you? Watercraft comes with messing it up, getting it right, sitting there watching fish show. Even the way they show can tell you something. The birds, the wildlife. It's about, that's how you earn your stripes, isn't it? By actually getting things right and analysing that, and also getting things wrong and analysing that and taking that on board as well. But in the end, I was getting turned over on the chods, 100%, because I get action on me bobbing. Well, for that to have, because on a naked chod, they worked amazingly well on the Essex Manor, but that was over the top of silkweed. On Welly, they weren't the one, because there was too much play. I'd have the top bead about 5 foot up, the bottom bead about 6 inches above the lead, just to stop to keep the rig away from the lead. But there was nothing to set that hook. I wasn't hand sharpened hooks weren't about then. I even looked back and I was getting it wrong. Other people were catching around me. And I remember saying to Dan, well, you know, your stiff hinge rig still looks the same as my chod rig to a fish. And that's when the penny dropped. So I'd got a helicopter lead core leader out my bag, put it on, and I thought they're getting away with this. I'm sure they are. I was moving because I was so mobile. I was on fish. I wouldn't not be on fish, or else I wouldn't be moving. I'm not moving just for the sake of it. And I thought that I need something to set the hook. That's what I needed. So I looked at the lead core leader. So I put that on. I wanted to use a pop up because I did like using pop ups. So all I did is I didn't want to use something that was really stiff. So I got some supple coated braid. So I had an helicopter rig with 1.5 ounces lead. So that's how far out I was fishing. With the beads close together, probably 15 inches of coated braid and my little chod section. First time I used it, I had a 39 and 40 pounder. I thought, what have I been doing? When we're knocking on into the spring here,
just putting those 2 beads together,
just adding resistance.
Yeah.
And I even think the lead core on a chod would have got me more.
Yeah.
Hook. I'm not saying I would have landed them because the hook might have come out, but even that resistance on the rig when they picked the rig up would have been enough to nail them. So whilst I looked at that, and it was only the conversations with other anglers like Dan, and I thought, well, I don't want to copy everybody else and use a stiff hinge on a leg clip, so I'll use a helicopter on a stiff hinge on a helicopter, if you like, on a supple braid. And you think, well, that's not really that different to what I've been using. Well, it is. It's massively different because you've got the weight of the 1.5 ounce lead and the weight of the lead core, the inertia in the water, because I don't think things weigh the same in water. And I was getting unbelievable hook holds.
You could get a new renaissance now with those. Now we got those super sharp hooks as well, couldn't we? Do you think if you could have just used a hook like that then?
I think a razor sharp hook on a chod, a naked chod, would have nailed them. But now I don't very often use a chod to the point because I don't need to, really. I use them on Wellington Park or Watertown Fishing, which is one of Rob Ailes' lovely old estate lake, but the bottom is littered with silkweed to the point where I have to draw the compromise between thrashing or bombing the swim like shit with a lead to find something that I'll get a drop. Well, silkweed you get a drop anyway unless it's really thick. So all I do, I've gone back to chods. I don't like them. I don't like using them. I've lost a couple, but I've caught a few. But for me, it's the less of two evils. Rather than bombing the swim, I'd rather use the chod and get a softer drop. I know I'm presented in silkweed, but that's the only time I use them, and I don't like doing that.
You've always been like that with bombing a swim as well. Then it's not something that you
don't like doing it.
Right.
I'd much rather. I don't know how you don't do it. You know, it's
very tough, isn't it, to not do it?
It's getting that far. I had a session at Western. It'd only take me little 10-foot rods with fluorocarbon line. The fish were down the shallows in numbers. It's probably about 70 yards. Just couldn't get them. Couldn't hit them. And I was bombing them because I hadn't fished the swim before, and the fish were there. I was having to bomb to get a drop, even in the silkweed, and I completely killed the swim. And I went home 2 hours later with the ump.
Did you?
Yeah, because I'd pissed myself off. If I'd have got me 12-foot rods with mono on, I mean, I've got a big van. I should just keep them in the van.
Yeah.
I would have been able to hit the distance easy. And even in silkweed, I've got to get the right drop, because even in silkweed, like Western's only 3 to 4 foot deep all over, so you have to be quick to get a drop. But it can be done, and there's lots of different areas where I found sparser silkweed, because you don't get a drop in the thick silkweed. I don't want it to be sitting on the top, potentially being pulled into the top of the silkweed, you know. As long as I get a bit of a drop, I'm happy to fish, but I don't like using them. But when I first discovered them and started using them on the Essex Manor, it revolutionised my fishing.
You said that.
Revolutionised my fishing.
So who told you about the chod rig?
It was Kodak.
Yeah.
I'd struggled on the Essex Manor for 2 72-hour sessions, not caught nothing, thinking, oh, my long old rigs will work from Welly. I'd gone, why wouldn't they? It's only silkweed. In reality, I look back in the early spring, I was fishing too far out. Well, the Essex Manor is tiny. You know, it's only probably 40 yards to the middle. But all the fish at the time were coming out on adjustable zigs. I didn't know that. You soon learn. I had a couple of bites on adjustable zigs, but then the fish start to move away from the tight lines on the adjustable zigs and start moving into the shelf as the water's warming up. So it was only little flicks, but all the shelf was littered in silkweed, and I didn't want to bomb it, you know, because everyone could see what you're doing, and it was a case of being embarrassed to do it. And Kodak kept coming down. Kodak was really good mates with Johnny Miller, one of the bailiffs at the time. He's like, you've got to use this chod tong. I said, mate, I want to do it my own way. I want to do it my own way. He said, mate, you've got to try it.
How many people were using the chod on there?
There wasn't that many. There was a few. Danny Beckwith, Alex, Richie Loft. People were onto it. They were on it, like, you know. But so me and Daryl didn't go on there and revolutionise the chod fishing, but we revolutionised moving a lot. Daryl more so than me. The second session, I'd got to meet Richie Lofthouse and a few of the regulars, and they're all laughing at me because I got too much gear. They were taking the piss out of me. I thought, I ain't having this. So I got back home, put it all out the van on the patio, and I just decluttered. And it's amazing what you don't have to take. So of course the next week I've turned back with I'm on a mission. But before that, Kodak said, mate, use this chod. So I've moved down to a swim called Mums. There's you fish up to the margin to your right, because no one tends to fish in the next swim. So I had to beg, steal and borrow stuff off the anglers. So I've got no outturned eye hooks, I've got no chod material, nothing. I've got no beads, because obviously naked, I don't think you could use lead core at the time. So I was putting a new hole through the bead with a baiting needle, which is fine when you use it naked because it's safe, it'll come off. Flicked it, walked it down, flicked it out. Thought, well, I'm not really arsed about it.
So you put it on the shelf or down on the bottom of the shelf?
Well, I didn't really know. I didn't care.
Right.
It was just, I knew I was fishing, because I knew, obviously, as the rig's flowing up the line to the top bead, that's what I mean. It didn't matter where it landed. And that's why people say chods for nods. Yeah. Because they think it's cast them anywhere.
Yeah.
And at times it can be, and it was a simple 10 minutes later, the right hand rod's buckled round, 34 pounder. And you're thinking, Jesus Christ, I've just wasted 6 nights by trying to do it my own way. So because I'm such a perfectionist, all the next few days when I got home, I think I had 3 fish that session in the last 24 hours. And you're thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm going to take this place apart. This is easy. Just walk out, just flick them out down the shelf, don't even have to find a spot. But Daryl was, as the spring wore on, I noticed Daryl was becoming more and more consistent and catching more, because he was using sweet corn, quite a lot of sweet corn.
Oh, was he?
As well, yeah. He was doing everything that Daryl does. Yeah. And he does it all very well. And he was getting sheeped up quite a lot. Back in the days before they were called sheep, they were just called punishers. And people were following him round.
Was Daryl moving around a lot as well?
He was ridiculous, but he wouldn't move at night. He used to bring his missus with him a couple of times. And because I'm still very, very anal about my gear, even when I was moving a lot, but I'd still have to put it on the barrow. I wouldn't just chuck it on. Darryl didn't give a shit. He'd just chuck it on and he's gone.
Yeah.
So whilst I was a bit slower than Darryl, and I didn't want to go toe-to-toe with Darryl because I knew he'd kick my arse. Because he didn't give a shit about his gear. And he'd have no reservations moving back to a swim where he'd moved out of. He did that a few times in court. He just got very in tune with it.
So were the fish were they not staying in swims for very long?
No, they were.
What, just because it's a small lake and
pressured.
they're constantly pressured?
Constantly. You weren't picking. I mean, I was driving. It was 190 miles to the Essex Manor. I pointed it out to Kath when we were coming down today. You weren't picking your swim on watercraft. I got there my first trip. There was 2 swims left, so you're getting what's left. So when I was driving there, it wasn't a case of if it looked shit or it was stitched up or I couldn't get on the fish, I ain't going to drive home. It's just taken me 4 hours to get there. Whereas the local boys, there was a lot of bait going in. People baiting a lot. It wasn't etiquette or ethical, but that was how it was on the manor. If you were 2 swims up, someone would come down and stove 20 kilo in 2 swims down,
right. And
that happened a lot. With the big underguard, the big scoops, because they weren't putting it out in the middle in 20 foot. It was all getting on the shelf.
So was that working?
Not really. It obviously did get eaten because the fish were big, but it was happening a lot. There was far too much bait going in. The fish had got choices. They didn't have to eat on your spot. They got free bait everywhere.
So your sort of roaming chod kind of approach was completely different to what you were doing on Welly beforehand when you were putting loads.
You couldn't get further from the truth.
Yeah.
So I was looking at me fishing on the manor thinking, God, if I go back to Frimley or go back to Welly and do it differently, I'll catch this and catch that. I never used to fish in Bramble Bay because it was full of silkweed. And I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, I want to get in there with these chods. But it turned out the chods didn't work for me on Welly. I had to change up to these helicopters with the beads fixed. And it's only by recognising you were going it wrong.
Yeah.
But then I got so in tune with the lake and I caught the turtle because I knew they'd be there. Because it's the only place they could be. And I remember I was in a swim called the Three Trees. I'd had a mid-30 common, which got out the retainer.
Oh, did it?
I heard this commotion at night. You think,
oh no,
I'll just roll over. It's safe as houses. Can you just do some pictures? Bloke was next door on the wides. Chest waders on, walk out. Oh, fucking hell, there's no carp here. And he's looking at you thinking, have you really had a bite?
Yeah.
Well, why would I go out and put a wet... Anyway. So he didn't even know. I'd reeled in, walked round to Animal Farm Bay. Within 10 minutes there was sheeting up and I saw 2 fish. He didn't, and by the time he knew I was in there, I got the turtle on the bank. Because I remember it's a tight swim, bit of drizzle, it was perfect. You look back and you think it couldn't be written any better. So I thought I'll just put 2 rods out on my helicopter, on my stiff hinges on helicopters, white pop-ups, flopped them out. I thought there's only room for 2 rods. I've got one to the left by a tree line and one sort of straight out. And I've got this other rod. I thought I could probably put that to the right. Put it about 30 yards to the right. It's not going to interfere with anything. Dropped it out. Got a good drop. Left it. I'm just setting the brolly up. And I've heard the alarm's gone. So I'm instantly getting to the 2 rods. It's not. It's a right and wrong. So it was like clockwork. You step into your chesties, playing the fish. George Benos was sitting opposite me on the boathouse, scanning the area. He'd seen these fish, but because I was closer, I'd got to him before. And he's watching. This fish is beating the shit out of me. And I mean, fighting like it's live. He did everything other than a sailfish do with tail walking. You don't even think, because you don't think I'm going to be that lucky. So I'm playing it. I'm getting really tired and a bit fucked off, to be honest. I'm thinking, I just want this over now. I'm getting tired, my back's hurting. So it's gone in the net. George is then stood up and he's clapping, George is. And I've looked in the net and I thought, I don't recognise you. I don't know. Didn't even click. The fight, nothing. So then I've rung Glenn, Squaddy Glenn, because I said, it was a big fish. So can you come give me a hand? So he's come round. He says, what fish is it? I said, I don't know. I said, I don't recognise it. So he stuck his net head and obviously he said, that's a turtle, that is. I think, oh, well, that'll do then. I said, how big is it? He said, well, it's 50 pound plus. So it's the second biggest fish in the lake. I'm thinking this doesn't happen. So Richie's come round. There was Rich. There was about 4 people there doing pictures. And then you got all the people walking past, because Animal Farm was called Animal Farm Bay. There's an animal farm back where people take the kids in.
Yeah.
So you imagine there's all this commotion with anglers, and then there's this bloke dressed in a camo top holding this fish that is biblical, is as heavy as a sack of spuds. I think it was 52 something, 52.4,
Wow.
something like that. But so then Richie said, and Glenn says, "Come on, we're going up the pub." I said, "Look, you know I shouldn't be here." I said, "I'm milking this for all this." The fish was still showing. We were doing pictures. We were doing water shots, which was shit because they weren't in the water. They were taking water shots off the banks of the glare. We got some wicked bank shots. And as there's still fish showing. And I'm thinking I'm going to catch this other big fish, this other 50 pounder. This was 2013. I did get another bite the following week. It wasn't the other 50. It was a 35. I was convinced. I was so confident in my rigs. They hadn't gone, and I was amazed they hadn't spooked, because this fight was unbelievable. I wasn't in control at any stage during that fight. It was in control completely,
Right.
doing everything to get rid of the hook. And of course, when you speak to people that have caught it before, their recollection of the story is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And even though I nearly shed a tear when I left, because I knew I wouldn't go back. Probably because I would never be allowed back, because I've broken the rules by staying on a bit longer. In the grand scheme of things, it's not crime of the century.
No.
But and it was ever so weird that they've lost a few fish, haven't they, recently?
They
last
have.
couple of years.
They have.
But in 2013 there was 2 50 pounders. You fast forward to 2017, there's something like 20 50s. Mental.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? But the problem is,
It's funny on there as well, isn't it? Because a lot of those big uns died, and but there's the smaller ones have all, the ones that were lower in the hierarchy have suddenly put on a lot of weight again, and there's a lot of 50s in this.
They were always very, very scared to restock at Welly, because as these fish started to grow, they didn't want to. There was a couple of Sutton stockies in there, which I've got some pictures, really nice. They were actually pretty. They were scaly fish. So they're always very scared for obvious reasons about putting anything in. So consequently, I don't think there was nothing wrong with these fish. I think they're just old. So I think the kind of impact is bigger because they're so big. When you've got a lake full of big fish, they're all going to be worth. They're not going to be worth obviously losing. Because they're all big, the impact is more severe because they're all 50 pounders.
Why do you think they grow so big in that lake?
Because they've fed on boilies.
Just anglers.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think they had when I was there in 2013, there was a massive problem with weed. Then they had an algae bloom. No, they got the weed boat in, and basically all that did was flatten it cut the weed, and what was left just flattened. Then they had an algae bloom which killed it. So the following year there was no weed, so you could cast anywhere. And I think what happened then, from years going on after that, because they thought they were going to lose them because of the algae, they put some dye in. So consequently, all the natural food larders got absolutely battered. So they had to eat boilies. They were always fed on boilies anyway, so it was a big boilie water. And they even put a bait restriction on it in the end.
Did they?
I don't know how much you could use. How they policed it, I don't know.
How much?
I think it was like 10 kilo.
What, per session?
Yeah.
Right.
So sometimes you put that on one spot.
Yeah.
People underestimate how much carp can eat. I've
Yeah.
watched them at Lynch Hill. You've watched them close up. They can demolish bait. If you get a few competitive feeding carp, they will really make a mess of a spot.
5 kilos doesn't last long.
Nothing.
Does it?
Well, you roll 5 kilos out on this table.
You talk about Gigantica or somewhere like that, where you've got those big fish.
Yeah.
5 kilo is literally, you might get a couple of bites, three bites off
Yeah.
of that. It's not
I think
a
we
lot.
get
is it?
cleared out a lot more than.
Yeah.
I think we're fishing with single baits a lot of the time, but then it's if you haven't really, and I think they can come in sneakily undercover, and just because they're not crashing all over you or slicking up or fizzing up. If they're slicking up, obviously you're going to see.
You
But
prefer fishing over bigger baits or smaller baits?
I don't
generally?
mind, to be honest. I don't. Me zig fishing and me spod fishing has really suffered since leaving the Oxford waters, because that's what used to rule the roost. But I am a good boilie angler. And I like boilie fishing because it's clean, primarily. And they like eating boilies, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a great spodder. Of course, if I did it with any regularity, I would become good at it again like I used to be. But when I watch people like Bartlett, how he performed on, amazing. And it was a flick. He was fishing 90. It was a flick. And I'm not strong enough anymore to... I always struggled with them big spoms anyway. they're quite heavy, and I've never been that strong, and
Mm.
even more so now. But I fish waters on my own terms that suit my fishing, and I have done since Wellington. I went from Welly to Frimley, from Frimley to the Essex Manor, messed around on Farriers and Monk's Pit. Had another year on the Essex Manor, went back to Welly.
Any waters that you wish you didn't fish in this country?
Wish I had fished.
Wish you had fished.
Um,
Because it sounds like now you've got your sort of venues now. It's changed a little bit for you, isn't it?
Yeah,
with,
my big fishing. I'm going to possibly do a bit more on Farriers this year.
are you? Have you still got a ticket there then?
Yeah.
Right.
Western.
Did you keep a ticket?
No,
there
I
the
haven't
whole
kept
time?
it all the time. No, because
Right.
I used to dabble on there, so I'd do the odd night here and there. I wouldn't never fished it really that hard because.
Do you know I live 5 miles? Well, my family live 5 miles from there. I've never fished that lake.
Right.
Yeah.
It got a bit because it's primarily commons and they don't fight very well.
Yeah.
I got a bit bored with them, so
But
so
they've
that's why I
grown
didn't kick
really
the arse
big.
out of it. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
massive now,
yeah.
and it's a lovely place.
So it's your sort of venue as well, isn't it? Because it's not just about a big fish or a low stop water.
there's a
It's
few.
got
I've always
good.
done that with circuit water. I've never doubted the ability to go on a really low stop pit and catch them because I think they act more naturally. They act like natural fish because they're not being pressurised by anglers because it's hard. It's whether I could maintain the interest because I like to catch a few and I like to put myself on lakes where there's some big uns. So if you fish well, eventually they'll come along. I think we're all like that.
Like the numbers game.
Unless you're a Terry Earn or a Nigel Sharp or someone that's programmed to hunt these big carp down. I think we're all the same. We want to catch big uns. I get that you can't. The biomass doesn't allow. Welly was a freak, really. There's no other water in the country I think that'll ever have the stock that Welly had around 2016.
What about somewhere like Grenville now?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's up and coming. But there's a lot of zones on Grenville where you can't hit because of his rules on leads. And I know a lot of people that fish Grenville. I don't go on because I haven't got the desire to spot it 120 to 150 yards. I couldn't do it, Si. Couldn't do it because I know it'd be all over the place.
Right.
And I know that's how the more consistent anglers catch them on
Yeah.
there.
You got more into European fishing, didn't you? After
I completely get with Damo, where I class Damo as a bounty hunter. He's a bit like Gibbo, a bit like Clive Gibbons.
wait and see this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Clive went a bit like that because he had a few 80-pounders. Clive,
Yeah.
just a few,
Yeah.
as you do.
Yeah.
So I won't fish for just pale French pigs anymore. They've got to have something about them. So there's certain lakes that we go. They've got lovely fish, good facilities. We hire the lake. So it's not just about the fish, it's about the whole package. So you can use a boat. You're not going to get nobody wrecking your swim. You're with like-minded guys that will leave you alone if you want to be left alone, or you can take the piss if you want to have some banter. So that's where I get my big fish fix from. I'm not so driven by that. I'm driven by quieter lakes now.
You fished because you're a Aqua, those sort of venues
I've
as well.
been there
What
twice,
do you make of?
I don't know, you couldn't pay me to go back.
Really?
No.
No.
I went the first time.
Just taking it a little bit too far.
Yeah. Damo was there with Pete Regan.
Yeah.
When I first, and he was on the back of the wind. I was in the teeth of this freezing wind. Just shitty, horrible silt, 18 foot, horrid. Never getting catch nothing. I had a few grass carp, and I thought that's where I need to be. I need to be with the swim where Damo is or Zircling Point, get a lot of water. So I got back on in Electric Point. That's a big fish, not big for your, up to upper 60s, but it's so artificial. And his rules change so much, and he's got his favourites, and it just creates a bad atmosphere.
Was it mainly English anglers there, or
It was really building momentum then for English anglers. But
Yeah.
I don't know if many English go now,
right?
because he's basically mugged off so many people about. So you book swim 1, for example, you get there. No, you're not in swim 1. You're in swim 3 because my mate's in swim 1 now, or he spends most of his life pissed up in the lake.
Right.
Which is fine. It's funny for the first couple of days because you think Jesus, but then it goes a bit thin, and he constantly wants you to, because you're not supposed to take any bait. Everybody takes bait, their own bait, because his bait's shit, and all he wants is money. It's all he wants out of you is money. He's not, and if you're catching, he'll go around with all big container fulls of maize and pour them in everywhere.
It would drive you nuts, that would, wouldn't
He
it?
doesn't want you catching his carp. He just wants your money.
This European fishing, though, I mean, I've never really gone down that route with it, but it's a bit like reliving your like younger fishing days all over again because it's all new again, isn't it?
It's all new, yeah.
You know, you got all these different venues that there's just so much, isn't there? That you.
I mean, there's again, there's a bit of elitism with public lakes and pay lakes, and but I don't see as much of it. I do see some people that'll frown upon a pay lake. Well, that's up to them, It's never bothered me as long as I'm having a good time and fishing for what I want to fish for with who I want to fish with, then I'm fine. But I won't drive all the way to France to fish for, even if it's 70, 80 pound, if the pale, scaleless. We used to do that when we used to go to Maison de Lac Bleu, which was, I guess, Korda put that on the map. We were going a couple of years before Danny and the guys went, but they put it on the map. And it was lovely. It's fantastic complex, but they're all really pale and horrid, and not horrid, but they were big and pale. That was just the strain. Whereas now I can think of nothing worse. I'd rather go for like weedy water. I love fishing from a boat because I know everything is bang on. Use big heavy leads. The only thing that's going to move that rig is a carp.
I like what you were saying about fishing on. Was it Pascal's? You go there a bit now, don't you? You got a trip booked this year. Yeah,
I've got a trip in May, and I've got 2 weeks in October. God willing.
You'll be there.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
Stop looking at me.
Yeah. Okay.
She's looking at me, and you are.
Yeah. But you were saying when you fished there before with, how you kind of combat a lot of lines in the water as well, and trying to. A lot of your fishing is based around who's going to be fishing where, and
you've got to fish Pascal's as a team. And Gibbo, he's petrified of boats. Damo will tell you that. So consequently, he'll get us to help him. But like even your different line angles will affect how the fish move. And Beachy will always take his drone, not to find fish because you don't see him because it's that heavily weedy, but you can see him when they're clouding up. So he'll take the drone up, and at least it doesn't mean you're going to get a bite because these fish are cute in Pascal's. But at least you see where they are, where they're feeding because they're kicking up the clay. But Clive has got poor form on there. He has good form in the spring when he can take his bait boat out and fish in sparse weed. But when that weed comes up, you've got to be in a boat. You've got to have an echo sounder because if the fish are troughing, then the water clarity is terrible. So then you rely on your echo sounder to find the spots. As much as you find 10 foot, it's roughly 10 foot deep on the bottom. And I just go into a different beast when I'm on there. I go into carp mode more there or in France than I do. It takes me back to when I was so keen on Welly.
Why is that?
Because I tried harder back then when I was in England. Now, I go to Blackthorn, for example, in the winter, and I shut that patio door and turn the heating up and think if I catch, I catch. If I don't, it's not going to change my life. And even more so after my diagnosis.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I have to do my DNA filming and stuff for Century. But they let me do my thing. They don't put pressure on me, and I think if I don't catch, it's not going to change. It's not going to change the world.
So you go up another gear when you go to Pascal's.
I really become a dick, like a carp dick. Go into carp mode. Beachy, because of me e-cig, Beachy says it's like playing your pipe.
Really?
So when I have a puff on my vape, he's like, "Oh God, you're gonna get bite, aren't you?" But Clive will say we're in the lodge playing around because Clive loves playing around. So we'll have a bit of social time, and then I'd rather sit in my bivvy and listen. He says, "Yeah, but Tong, you're not going to move your rods." Well, I know, but at least it's giving me an idea if they're avoiding my lines. Because what they do in Pascal's, they use the cover of the weed in the day to hide. I've never seen a fish follow the boat at Pascal's ever. And then they come out to play at night when the light levels drop. I think they do that on a lot of lakes. I've been on lots of lakes before where they're active at night because they're shit scared to come out in the day. So they use the weed or the snags as cover, and then they'll come out to play at night. Pascal's is prime. It's prime for that. And I've got good form on there. I've always caught well, and we've got this 2-week session coming up. We've already sorted the swims out because I'm going in the lodge in the spring because of the mosquitoes, and we'll see how we are with this new chemo regime. So allows Clive and Bullock to pick where they want to go in May, but sneakily that means that me and Beachy get to pick where we want to go for 2 weeks in October. And the purpose of having 2 weeks is I want to fish the same swim for 2 weeks and build the spots.
Right.
Because I think we could accumulate quite a lot of big fish
Is that something you've done before?
No, I've done 10 days in a swim at Pascal's, and I caught more in the last 3 days than I did in a week. Because the spots are established. I'm very good at playing carp chess. So if it's a case of who's going to crack first, then trust me, that carp will crack before me. Because I'll just sense when I'm going to get a bite.
Right.
And Beachy will say, because there's lots of spots at Pascal's that you can see from the boat, and he'll say, so why have you picked that? Why'd you pick that one? Well, what I'll do, I'll set my bivvy up and stuff first, and I'll sit down and I'll have a bit of a vape and a brew. I think, right, well, what's the best way to tackle this swim? You know, I want to spread my rods. I don't want to have them all close together because it's not that sort of lake. And so I'll just look for zones. You know, I found a little silty spot just to my left, just off the trees 2 years ago. And no one had ever, it was a slight depression of about 6 inches on the echo, but because it read, it was going 8 foot, which I knew was weed, and then it went to 9.5. I thought, I'll stop the boat here. So I H-blocked it straight away, and I had a little prod, a little donk with my lead. It was soft, so it was obviously not gravel. And I thought, probably nobody fishes there. Well, that's been cleaned. It's not.
Was it like a carp hole?
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the spot from the boat, but I knew that because it was showing 8 foot, then 10 foot, I knew someone's been in. I see it was showing 8 foot all along. Someone's been in and cleaned that off. So I had a little donk with a lead, and then I marked closer into the margin. So at night, I knew if I'm level with that H block and then I go out, I'll find it. I'll rely on the echo sound then to tell me it's 9.5 foot. It's only soft, and I had 2 60s and a 74 off that.
Did you?
And it was literally probably from here to the front of the building.
Right.
So it's probably 20. People would overlook it.
Yeah, right.
On the angle, looking to the left.
Casting straight over that.
They wouldn't go anywhere near that.
It. Yeah, yeah.
You know, and it was just, so that left the line angle for the other 2 rods clear, you know, because I've literally got one tucked very close in. And it's just about thinking, right, well, they might not come that way.
How much attention do you pay to other people's line angles?
A lot.
How does that influence?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate anybody fishing within 4 miles of me.
Yeah.
But on Pascal, you have to do it. But it's ridiculous. If I took you to Pascal's, you'd laugh at me and say, there's surely not spookier line angles because it's so weedy. You know, it's really weedy. I took Ian Russell once. I said, mate, this is the weediest lake I've ever fished. So he's gone out on his boat. He's come back in. He went, Kinal, yeah, you're right. So I've never seen so many strains of weed. Like canopies on the top that were just canopy on top of canopy. You got no chance of getting a fish out there. But they are. You'd have thought they'd just brush it off, thinking, oh, it's
just used to it.
But, you know, Bullet fished a different swim. He didn't fish in 60s. He fished the road, and he basically cut Clive off. He didn't do it purposely because Bullet reeled in for the day and went playing with Pete. And then, so I said to Pete, you fire that drone up. So he's put the drone up, and sure enough, they've started to cloud up going round Bullet. I said, you're going to get a bite, Clive. Bullet's come back, put his rods out. He gave Clive another couple of hours. Clive didn't get a bite. The fish was still there because we could still see him milking up. Bullet's put his rods out. Cloudiness just goes.
Really? Wow.
And then they moved back in front of me.
Did you say for your next trip as well, you were planning on trying to keep lines out the water?
Yeah, because I'm in the lodge, the bite spot is the right-hand margin. So I used to use this method at Lynch Hill quite a lot before they dug the lakes together on
Christchurch. I love that method. Yeah,
it's a great method. But it was only at sort of 50 yards range. Well, what I want to do, I might just fish 2 rods. In order to get the right rod working, your left rod would almost cut that spot off. If you can get all the line out the water and fish at the bottom of the shelf, it might work, it might not. But the issue I've got 3. I've got to try it out. Me and Beachy are going to go up a field because I reckon it's about 150 yards to the furthest spot maximum. So if I can get that line to hold up and out of the water at 150, I know I'll be able to fish 2 rods.
That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting the tension right before the rod. It won't pull it out the clip on the bite, but it needs to be kept out of the water. Yeah. So I've got a Gardner adjustable line clip, which is what I used to use at Lynch Hill, and I've got 2 heavy duty elastic like wrist Alp the Hero sort of bands. You know, people that buy wristbands. So we'll see if that works.
We'll get some pictures off you actually. Maybe could we put those up on the screen for our edit?
Yeah, of course you can.
Be interesting for people to see what you're doing.
That doesn't mean it's going to work.
It'll work.
I mean, in theory, I know it works.
Well, you showed me it, and you were like,
and you were really. I think you were more impressed with the fluorescent tape.
Yeah. No, the attention to detail with it, and I think the 150 yards is the one though, is it? It's just whether you can keep that line.
If I can keep the line up, and it's and obviously the bottom band that will be what I'll put the line into that's come out of the water.
Have you seen that method does outfish? If you can keep your line out of the water like that,
I bet nobody's done it there. Not in that swim. I don't know. I don't really. They may have done, but
like you say, it's something you tend to associate with smaller lakes, isn't it?
Yeah,
normally?
I mean, Beachy will always say. So you do the analysis when you're driving home about why you think it's worked, and I'm already thinking about the next session. And he always says that. He says you never stop thinking about that place, because I think there's always a better way to do it. Not a better way, but I think thinking there's another way to catch these as well. Now the rigs and the baiting strategies don't change really, but there's always a better way with line angles and where you can put a rod. And obviously I build up this picture of how I want to fish it. If I don't try this method before, if it works, then I'll be screwed when I get there.
Yeah.
And I'll be ending up fishing it. Now Bullet will go in this swim. Bullet's a legend. Like, he's one of Damo's really good mates.
Yeah.
So Bullet, because he's half crippled with arthritis, he's really bad at times. So he's in the boat. He hasn't got an echo on, and he'll have a little prod around with a lead on his. He doesn't really give a shit, to be honest. So he'll be sort of looking at me like this, because his hands are all like hunched up like this, and he's going, "Oh, there's a spot there, Tong." He's in the boat. He doesn't take his rod out and drop it like that. He'll have somebody on the bank, and he has to drop his rig by hand. I don't know why. It's just the way he does it. So we go, "There's a spot there, Tong," like this, with his little arms. So then he'll get the rig, and he'll just go, throws it over the other side of the boat with the rig that you would never cast out. Next morning, £60, and you're fucking scratching your head like that, thinking, I'm there putting it on the edge of the spot.
What is going on there?
He's done it so many times, and he has caught some amazing fish from Pascal. So maybe I'm overthinking it, but his main bite spot is that right rod on the margin.
Yeah.
So of course I'm thinking, if I can get 2 rods rocking, I will. He's done it loads of times, Rog, and he puts rigs out that you think, Rog, that ain't going to catch nothing. £66, and then he struggles to hold them. He's actually good in the Pascals, because he'll put his chesties on and he can get under the fish. So it just goes to show that he
sounds like a good example, doesn't he? What you can do with a bit of disability, but still get out there and do it.
Well, periodically, like Clive's been in the lodge. He was in the lodge when he blanked. Bullet's been in the lodge a few times because of his arthritis. Suffers with a cold. So because the lodge isn't the best swim on the lake, we don't mind, because there's always the 4 of us that go, Clive, Bullet, me and Beachy. So if somebody wants the lodge, they can have it, because it isn't the best swim on the lake. It does some big fish, but it's that one bite spot really on that margin.
Yeah.
So I've just said, well, I'll go in, because of the mosquito. The mosquitoes were bad. I went over last year to see that. I didn't fish, but because I've been given the all clear for my surgery, I went over for a few days, just chill with them.
Yeah. Because
you're sleeping in a bed when you fish the lodge. It's not like fishing. It'd be basically like being at Blackthorn. But I did start getting cabin fever at Blackthorn after a few days.
Cabin fever, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But Bullet, he's got good form in that lodge. So all these plans that I keep thinking, I'll go to sleep at night thinking, I wonder if that'll work, if we could do that. And it's the only lake I do. I don't do it on any of the lakes.
Is there a particular fish in there that you...
Yeah, there's that's 74. That's now gone. It's just gone over £80. It's not. It's a big old gutty 2-tone thing. It's a beaut. Its wrist is biblical. Its wrist is probably as thick as my thigh. But there's another fish called, it hasn't got a name, but I call it Paul's Linny. There's a friend of mine, Paul McRae. He's like the Pascal's nerd. He probably touches himself when he looks at the picture of the fish. He's very, very good at the fish. That won't get caught. He'll agree with that. That's not a blasphemy of his character.
Like I said, I'm leaving it all in.
Yeah.
But he caught this fish, and it's amazing, and I want to catch it. It's got a perfectly underslung lip. Doesn't get caught much. It's probably mid-50, but it is amazing, and I want to catch that. But then there's another couple of fish I've seen Bullet catch that I want to catch. So in order to catch them, I need to stand on the boat, close my eyes, and just chuck the rig anywhere.
Just do that. Fish like Bullet.
But he did it once, we call it, we still laugh about it, the bouncing bomb rig. He actually hit the side of the boat, the top of the boat, and then the rig landed in. Then he caught a £60. So he didn't even go on the spot that he'd found there, because he went there, but he fucking threw it, and he hit the boat, and then went on the spot, and he still caught a £60.
Have you ever met Bullet, Tope?
I haven't, no. My old man talks about him a lot.
He loves him.
He's amazing.
He absolutely loves him. Yeah.
The thing is with Damo, he's the sort of... Now, this isn't... he's the sort of bloke bully that Damo can mildly bully, have banter with. A bit like yourself.
I was going to say, that's Simon.
So he likes, and I think, I'll be honest, when they first met, we were on a coach coming back from Maison, and I'm like, this was back in the day, you go on a coach, me and Damo wouldn't dream about going on a coach trip now, because it's just you two, you want to be in control of your own destiny, don't you? And there was Jonesy. Do you know Jonesy, Damo's best mate?
Yeah, I don't know him, but I hear it. Yeah.
And he's a lad as well. He likes taking the piss. Yeah. So I thought at first they were being quite cruel to bullies, because I thought they were getting really friendly. And I thought, are they doing this because of not his disability, because Bullock doesn't like to be classed as disabled, even though he is. And I thought, are they just taking the piss out of him here? And they weren't. It's just Damo and Jonesy. It's their way they are.
Didn't Damo give him the nickname? When they saw him coming out the bivvy, they were going to call him...
That's what I've heard.
What was it?
No, I think it was before that, I think he was called Bullet before Damo met him. Because I was on a trip at Maison.
What were they going to call him? Bullet or something like... Is it like Slug or something
Yeah. I used to call him... Well, I named a fish after him that didn't stick. I named a fish called Beetle. Because one of Bullet's hands is a bit because of his arthritis. It's awful, really, but Bullet loves it. So don't anybody ring in and complain.
You should come on the podcast, shouldn't you?
Bullet's a legend, mate. You'd be pissing yourself, honestly. But his hands, one of his hands is like this. He's so funny. So he caught this. He had this mid-60 from Luke Moffat's. Bullet's then caught it. The debarklement of a story. So I was catching off right off the margin, which is about 200 yards off this telegraph sort of mast. I said, that's the spot, Bullet, there. Right, okay, Tong. Me and Clive were down in the T-bar swim. So Bullet's then caught this fish. And I said, we need to name it. We need to call it Beadle. Because obviously Jeremy Beadle had that little diddy hand. Bullet's just laughing. Either Beadle or the claw.
Yeah, that's it.
Something like that. So we ended up not calling it either. So anyway, we've then gone to Bullet telling us how we caught this fish. He said, so did you have it off that spot? I said, Rog. He went, bit of a story here, Tong. He says, I've dropped the rig. I've come back. I've got within 40 yards of the bank. I've got no line on my reel because I haven't changed my line for a few years. So he said, basically, I then had to go back. So then he's like this with his hands, reel back out, pick the rig out, drops it roughly where he thinks he's got enough line to get back to the bank. 65 pounder. So the moral of the story is, don't be too meticulous. Don't give a shit where you put them.
Yeah.
Don't look where you put them, and you'll catch 60 pounders like Bullet.
Close your eyes and throw them.
But he was a bit rough last year. But they've put him on some new medication, and he's like firing on all cylinders again, according to Clive.
Oh, good.
But yeah, he's a good advert for. There's lots of things he can't do. Like he does nothing quick. He really doesn't. He's a legend
as well. Yeah.
He would be a great podcast because he loves a story.
He can come on. He can come on soon.
We'll definitely have him on.
What you should do is you should have Damo and Bullet.
Oh, can you
imagine? It's got to be Damo and Bullet, hasn't it?
Together. It would be carnage.
We're waiting for Regan to come on as well with him. So
I met Regan. He was with Damo at Euroaqua. Because I was in carp mode at Euroaqua, because I wasn't really a boozer, and neither was Damo really. Pete Regan, he loved him. The owner, that Alex, loved Regan because Regan loves it. He's got so many stories to tell.
He's very, very dry, but you know, he's definitely got some stories to tell, isn't he?
I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed his company.
Him and Damo, they seem to bounce off each other really well. They've been threatening to come on for a while, but I'm not sure about me and Pete just doing a one-on-one podcast.
Oh, no, Pete would be useless because there'd be too many swear words.
Yeah, I just couldn't control it.
No,
I don't have the editing capability to sort that out.
No, I don't think so.
We'll be doing overtime.
That's it.
But no, like I said, there's so many potential guests that we want to come on the show.
But it's just good. I like being around. Yeah. When we go to France, we have carp time, and we have pissing around time.
Yeah, it's nice.
And I like that.
Yeah.
But we catch some big fish whilst doing it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. You've got to put yourself on these lakes where the fish live. There's no point wanting to catch an 80 pounder if you're fishing at the quay.
Do you think you've worked it out over the years then that you don't necessarily need to be ultra serious? You can kind of just I do, yeah, but I still won't be able to help myself. I'll be more relaxed in May because I'm in the lodge. But you can do both. You can kind of do both more.
Yeah. And I just, the thing is with Pascal's, the fish is so nice. You do earn every one. And even a couple of 30 pounders, they're lovely.
Yeah.
They're like English carp, which is why we go there. And Clive, because Clive is lazy in a boat, he won't go in one. He keeps going to Pascal, well, I think you should kill the weed because then the fish would get bigger eating boilies, which they probably would. But then it wouldn't be the same lake because it'd just be a 10-foot blank canvas. where you could just cast out anywhere and catch them.
Yeah, you're taking the soul of the lake away, aren't you?
You're ripping its spine out.
Yeah, you are.
And she has lots of complaints about the weed. Pascal does, but she's done bits to it, and she'll ask me my opinion. Of course, I'm like, don't treat it, because you can't beat that fishing from a boat. You know everything's bang on, you know. But Clive, even if you drop the rigs out for Clive, which he lets you do, because he likes you doing jobs for him. Clive likes that. Likes having little bitches around him. He'll still reel them in every day to put them back on exactly the same spot. Well, I'm quite happy to leave mine out for 2-3 days if I have to. And you know, you go into Pascal's, 10 fish for the week for the 4 of you is 10 to 12 bites. You've had a good week on Pascal's, because there's not that many fish in there.
Yeah, you can go, you know, like I said, these 10 bites a day or whatever. You just.
I don't want to cut. No,
yeah,
it's not a bit of me.
10 fish in a week. I mean, it's still a good week's fishing, isn't it? If you can get that, you know. And
some of these open access shoots I do with Mozzie, it's gone right off, and in the end we just reel in. Yeah, I don't want to catch. I don't want to be Tommy Maker catching 50 fish in January at Linear. I'd caught 5 and reeled in and got bored, probably. Yeah,
we went to Oxley's, mentioned this on the podcast before, but we went to Oxley's in the summer, and we had a few bites really, really quickly, and it was like, bloody hell, this is hard work. It's too much.
Me and Beachy used to go to Drayton.
You like the thought of it, and then as soon as it starts going off, you think, this is,
Yeah, we used to go to Drayton once a year, me and Beachy. So we go on the dam wall, just fish zigs for the day. It's easy. And you're all fired up because it's cold, and you think, I'll get a bite on a zig. And the depth at Drayton was always from the rod tip to your bail arm. It was easy, just tie loads. And I never used to spod shit over them because I don't want to get it all over me. It's too messy for me. So Beachy's there covered in the stuff. So I have a couple of bites and I get bored. Pack my gear away and just play around with him all day.
Yeah,
you know? And he's the same. You think, have you caught enough now? Yeah, can we go home now?
It's because we're getting older as well.
I do it on my terms now. I want to fish the lakes that I want to do that only eat boilies. You know,
3 hours. We've been talking.
Have we
for
really?
A while. Yeah, I knew it'd be a long one. Enjoyed it. It's been good. Yeah.
Don't look at me like that because I might want to cry again.
Yeah, no.
I'm glad she wasn't here. I was going in depth about her.
Yeah, no, but it's nice, and we can.
You've taken my mind off things.
I can see that. Yeah,
I'm smiling.
pleased.
Didn't smile much until I come here.
No, but you do make people smile. You've got that way about you. We don't know each other that well, but I just get. I
did enjoy when you came to Stoke. It was good, even though you tried to get on a bus instead of a train.
You're going to go away this week.
Did I tell you about that?
No.
Oh, right.
You possibly shouldn't go out unaided, I think.
No. I got there all right, didn't I? So I got to the train station.
The train brings you from one train station to another. But, how have you got off the bloody platform?
I was quite proud. I came out the station. I thought, yep, bang on time, great, okay. But just getting home. I got home at midnight that night. But no.
We're laughing back here.
You got home at midnight?
I did.
I dropped you off about 5.
It's a long way.
I could have walked to Cheltenham.
Baby. Yeah.
Oh, Simon.
But it's an adventure, mate, isn't it? That's what we love, isn't it? You want to see some of the places I've been to in the world as well, and I've survived, you know.
There's hope for me.
Yeah, there's hope.
Even in my situation, I can look at someone like you and think, thank fuck I'm not Simon.
Compared to some of the situations I've been in. Ian, I mean, a lot of people are going to be wishing you well over the next few months, and we just want to see you, just doing what you do well, enjoying it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Don't look at me because I'm going to cry.
Tackle podcast.
Stop it. Moving.